You are now entering into the Ninth Hour podcast. I think it befitting that the Heavenly Father, the powers that be, has afforded us the opportunity to come together at the end of this Feast of Purim. Purim is a day of blasting down all lies, deception, and that's exactly what the Ninth Hour is all about. I am Chief Priest Banyala, joined today by my co-host, my fellow laborer in this war for truth.
I'm Khan Yaradun, a young priest bringing with an old soul, bringing both perspectives to this podcast. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook.
All right. Engineer, would you please?
All right, it's Khan. What's going on? I'm going to be your engineer today. I'm going to be the one keeping the levels tight and the energy right. Welcome to the Ninth Hour.
And if you find that this podcast is befitting to you, like and subscribe. This is a brand new podcast for those who are listeners from our other platform. You see, this is our new studio. We've been putting in work. So definitely help us build this podcast because we're going to be talking about spiritual. We are priests, so we're going to be talking about spiritual events, spiritual analysis, spiritual perspective upon secular events. And this is something that we can't do on our other platform. It is purely spiritual. It is analytical from a biblical point, from a highly spiritual. Those who follow us know that the House of Wisdom is all spiritual, extremely. So in the Ninth Hour here, we want to talk about bringing some guidance, some light in dark places. So again, we're going to be talking about politics, geopolitics, local and international affairs. We're going to be talking about health and wellness, health and well-being. There's a lot of gurus saturating the internet right now, telling you not to drink water, don't drink air, don't breathe air, telling you all of these things are going to bring you health and prosperity. Speaking of health, we have a sponsor today. We have a sponsor. It is Living Water. Let's go ahead and get that first commercial out of the way, if you will.
Infinite Waters. Infinite Waters is a health supplement. It's an electrolyte blend, natural from the earth. You drop in your water and it helps with all sorts of strenuous activity, running, working out, or recovery. If you party a little too much, this rehydrates you more than anything else. You can find it on Amazon. We were actually clients of theirs before we reached out for a sponsorship. And so we've been actually taking their product, their supplement for some time. And actually it's been, anybody who's taken it can attest, it's been really helpful for all types of health ailments, whatever it may be, or just maintaining. Water alone doesn't hydrate you, but this has 77 plus minerals in it that help hydrate you and electrolytes that help that water cross the barrier within your of your cells, so the membrane of your cells. So once again, thank you for Infinite Waters for sponsoring us, helping this channel grow.
And as Jerry Dunn said, they're not only our sponsors, we're clients of them. We drink this. This is definitely the hydration that we go to. Like right now, I'm feeling under the weather, so to speak. But what real men do, we power through this thing. We make it happen. We take our herbs. We make sure that we are medicated correctly with the natural medication from the earth, whether it's echinacea, golden seal. As a matter of fact, we're right now nourishing with mullein. I'm going to give a shout out, impromptu, to the couple, Brother Bruce and Sister Burnell, that sent us that package of natural mullein from their property. And we utilize that for the well-being of the saints. We're going to continue on. We are going to be talking about in this podcast financial investment, whether it be gold, silver, property, land ownership, or whether it be crypto. We diversify. And so we're going to be talking about those events and also anything trending, anything going on right now that we can lend a spiritual analysis to. We're going to be talking about those things: music, poetry, the arts, self-preservation, survival skills. We may need it very soon to deal with certain survival skills. So we're going to be talking about those things. Also, legal gun ownership. And those of us in the state, once again, I stress legal gun ownership, and not just owning a gun, but how to utilize gun safety, cleaning a gun, marksmanship and all of those things. So not just having a rusty 22 that hasn't been shot since 1922, that your grandfather had when he was 22. We're talking about actually utilizing weaponry and constantly getting involved with it, knowing that you, especially men, must protect themselves, or you may even have to hunt to feed yourself. Whatever it may be, we are versatile. So we're going to be talking about wine and beer making as well. These are some of the things that we should be able to do as people, as a community. Also, if you have a topic that you want us to cover, you want us to give our insight on, this would be the perfect time for you to reach out to the royal priesthood and put it out there. And if it's deemed, something that we want to talk about, or we deemed it important enough, we'll definitely cover that topic. Also, we plan on having lots of guests. So if you have a guest that you want us to reach out to talk about, every guest is not a guest that we agree with. And we're not engaged in battles like you may hear. This is the debate, chief priest against whatever. We're talking about engaging in intellectual dialogue so that we may possibly find some common ground or some common interests. Or at the very least, we find out more about what this brother or sister is talking about. But also, we have Zoom. We want your opinion in the midst of this.
Yeah, Ninth Hour podcast is very different from all other podcasts we see, not just because we're bringing that priestly biblical perspective. We're not Bible thumpers in this. You can go to House of Wisdom and see us Bible thumping. This is not us Bible thumping, but we're still bringing that priestly, masculine, biblical perspective. But it's also different because most podcasts are not live. They don't have people calling in. We're blending a podcast and a radio show. There's a Zoom link. You can see that in the description. You can also see that in the pinned comment in the chat. You can join us on Zoom so that, you can actually come in and give your perspective on some of the things that we're talking about. And any sort of experience, any sort of information that you may have. We want to have that conversation. We want to be able to talk with you as well. And we spent some time getting that together. So we hope y'all use that feature. Come talk with us. Come dialogue with us. The engineer can tell you we put some time into making sure Zoom is connected properly and correct. So definitely come in and join us and talk with us on Zoom as we get into this ninth hour. Today, we're talking about the war in Iran and some of the things that are going on there. So get your thoughts, your questions, whatever it may be together so you can join us on Zoom and talk with us.
And I say bear with me as I'm, once again, nursing this little bug that's out there. And we took some time. You was talking about the engineering just to build this whole new studio.
Absolutely.
This studio was put together by the hands of brethren. I mean, many hands came together to put all of these things together. And I thank the Heavenly Father for it.
Yeah, and I would like to add too, like I said, this is many, many months in the making. First, the idea, then the actual time to implement, to build this studio, then the time to get all the material and everything we need to actually run this podcast today. So make sure you do your due diligence, like, share, subscribe, share this out. Like I said, this is another perspective from people who don't just want to get, yelled at, so to speak, don't want to get scriptures across the head. They can just come and talk with us. And once again, go to our sponsor, Infinite Waters. They help support the channel. So we hope that you help support them. They're a growing business, just like we're a growing podcast, and they took the time to come and sponsor us. So we hope you go and sponsor them or support them as well.
Correct. Absolutely. As we said before, right, we cannot on our other platform, on the Shabbat, in these holy feasts, talk about secular events. That is not befitting. That is definitely not what we are afforded to do as priests. But these other events like we have carved out today, we seek to impart spiritual comprehension and understanding, wrapping it around secular events. Again, Iran is burning at the present moment. Not only Iran, the Middle East, as they call it, is now in upheaval. And we would be remiss not to enter into it. The scriptures speak about this. Solomon wrote it in his Proverbs, where there is no vision, the people perish. And what that means is, when properly translated, where there is no visionaries, people who can go and perceive spiritually what is happening, the people perish. So visionaries is what's needed today, but unfortunately, as it was in the days of old, we have people ingratiating themselves. Now, this is a part of history. No matter what kingdom came about, there was always people trying to hobnob and rub shoulders with the elite and trying to influence them for their own benefit. We covered this when we talked about Artaxerxes and Esther. We had Amalekites coming in, once again, influencing the powers that be. And that same thing is happening today. We have Donald Trump here in America putting forth his spiritual advisors. Just like every king in the days of old, people who are here to say spiritually, this is what must be done. And then most time when people were practical and pragmatic, they will give something or they will give a speech, a word to the king that would advance their kingdom. But today, we tell you from the onset that that is not the case.
Ones I know when he first got elected was that Paula White.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Paula White is.
I believe she still is.
Because they made that White House faith office, and I think she's the head of that.
Right, right. And so when there's contention happening in Iran, when there's conflicts coming out in Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and Oman, and when Israel is saying we don't know what to do, Donald Trump wakes up in the middle of the night, get on the phone and say, where's my spiritual advisor? He calls her, play the clip how she talks to Donald Trump.
Angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched
bring that
right
joint
now.
up.
Hamanda ata ata raka
Trump.
teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rite didi ashata. For angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now.
From Africa?
right now.
From
Africa
Iran?
right now. From Africa right now.
What about Iran?
Angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda ata ata.
This is exactly what Trump gets on the phone and hears in his right ear from his spiritual advisor. Tiki, Riki, tiki. What the hell are you talking about? This person is worthy of being the king's right-hand man, person, woman, that spiritual advisor to take that phone call 3 o'clock in the morning. A nuclear weapon is about to be dispatched and he needs some spiritual comfort. Play it again.
Angels are being
thing
released
is
right
trash.
now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata
Absolutely
rite eke banda
pure,
ata rite
unadulterated
diashata. For angels
trash.
have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From
Why
Africa
Africa?
right now.
Yeah,
Angels are being released
yeah.
right now.
Send a bomb to Africa right now. Kill all the Africans right now. We hate the
Iran.
Africans. Yeah.
Iran right now.
Look at this. This is pure madness. This is what surrounds Trump. These fundamental evangelical Christians with their doomsday eschatology, preaching and teaching that Jesus is nigh at hand. Now they have a simple one. Donald Trump is no Christian by any means, but he is ready to appease those who, again, have ingratiated themselves, have come close to him, and they have definitely come close. I remember when he was running for president twice. He was like really going to the Christians. He was like, you got to just vote for me this last time. Last time. You don't have to do it anymore. And they really came in like he is the savior. He know what to do. He's like a carnival barker. That guy in back in the day that used to sit outside and tell people exactly what they wanted to hear. And once again, the simple ones who are non-spiritual but like to project that they are, took heed to this. He's an ultra-Christian. He's anti-this. He's anti-that. He's for our cause. And this was the rules that assisted and aided in him getting in. So he has surrounded himself with poor spiritual leaders. Again, we are the priest, and we give a perspective and an analogy and understanding that no one else can give. If you want to talk about Iran and you want talking heads and political pundits talking about it all day, that Iran can't do this and Iraq can't this, that, you can hear that. But you're not going to hear anybody clearly getting into the flawed understanding of evangelical theological Christians. It is absolutely madness.
Even that what Paula White claims she was doing, which is speaking in tongues.
Mm-hmm.
That's trash. I mean, there's people who study that and show that everybody who speaks in tongues, they always use syllables that they know.
Yeah.
So how come Paula White wasn't speaking anything that sounds like Chinese?
Right.
If she was really speaking in tongues, if she talking about African, why is she speaking something that sounds African? Why is she clicking? It's because it's something in her own head that she's putting out there. This is not something spiritual that she's getting.
That was what they call in the street freestyling.
Mm-hmm.
Battle rapping used to be whatever comes to your dome. And she was just making up stuff, just making it up. And the sad thing is that we can see it, but people are dismissing reality. They are suspending reality. The thing she was, nobody even speaks like that. Even if you speak English, nobody is go to the door, to the house, to the grass, to the field, to the go. Nobody speaks like that. That's not a coherent language, even if it was a language. And so once again, that person has rose up to the ranks to be the top dog, the top advisor for the most powerful man in the earth. Now you can begin to see the genesis of their downfall. But wait, there's more. There are again thousands upon thousands and hundreds of thousands of these fundamental evangelical Christians. Now we got Pete Hegseth. People are now calling him Pete Keg's Breath because the man is a little bourbon in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
He's showing up at some of these meetings and burping and speaking incoherently, but you ain't heard it from here. As a matter of fact, Pete,
We got you.
nobody's going to tell if you come and order this infinite water. It's going to hydrate you.
Oh yeah, keep you from getting that hangover.
Yep, absolutely.
Pull up that link so Pete Hegseth, when he watches, he knows where to go and get it.
Wink, wink. I mean,
Absolutely.
get your wife, we're not going to tell.
All right, this is the Amazon link where you can go and order the infinite waters from our sponsor.
Yep.
So make sure you go and get your infinite waters, Mr. P.
After listening to Paula White,
Go need some of that.
Oh yeah.
need some hydration.
Thanks for waiting for you, P.
I couldn't stay in that. What if somebody put you in that church and was like,
Oh, you go insane. You go mad.
I'll be bursting out the seam to get up out that piece. I don't know. They even put money on the table. I mean, that's ultimate spiritual torture.
If I hear Pete Hegseth, he's got another one of them pastors, not like Paula White, but similar to her, preaching to him, talking to him about some of the things that he's supposed to be doing.
That is true. See, there's a whole fat federation of these evangelicals, and all of them are pushing that Jesus is coming. He's coming. And it is being based off of this Israeli narrative. We're going to talk about that as we go on. Once again, we're priests. You can't get any of these CNN, Fox hosts, any of these pundits to talk about anything like this. First and foremost, they'll knock them off the air. Secondly, they're not qualified. They're not qualified to talk about flawed eschatology. It is completely and utterly wrong. And we'll talk about that on our other platform going into Revelation 16, talk about Armageddon, talking about Megiddo. Has nothing to do with what they're talking about whatsoever. But again, books have been written, and I will go and advance it. These books, I believe, and other people have talked about it as well. This is not my own thought. I've taken it and, I've added to it, that the Jews themselves have created the doctrine. The people who are purporting to be Jews, identifying as Jews, have put out the basis of the modern Christian doctrine. This doctrine to aid and advance the Jews that are in Israel today. But we'll get to that. Let's go to Pastor Doug Wilson. Let's pull up that link. This is what Pete Kegsbreath is doing on so-called Wednesday. I believe he does it once. Is it once a month? Maybe once a week. Maybe this is an old one. He has his prayer meeting. And in this prayer meeting, he's telling, remember, he's the Secretary of Defense. I think they changed that, right?
Oh yeah, Secretary of War.
Secretary of War. Sounds so bravado. He's the Secretary of War now. He comes together weekly, monthly, or whatever, and have this prayer meeting amongst his generals. And he brings these evangelicals over to tell the general, you're doing God's bidding. You're doing God's bidding. Let's go ahead and read that.
Bring that over. Scroll down to that picture of him.
Really?
Yeah, they got scroll all the way back up to the top.
Right. We got Pastor Doug Wilson.
Must got the wrong link.
Yeah, it's the one on the Idaho Press. But
Yeah, bring it back up. Yeah. I'll make sure it's. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, one above that. The one above that. Yeah, right there. That's when you click?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh,
there it
that's
is. Yep.
You close that joint. Man, it's taking you to something else.
They heard we was coming out with
There
it.
you go.
There it
Yeah,
is.
bring that up.
Yeah, okay. Can't
Look-
hide.
Yeah, you can't hide
Set.
Pete. Look at Pete.
Yeah, look at Pete trying to hide.
Look at him praying with the pastor.
You see that keg? He got a flask in his left hand. You see it?
You hide it, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Cover them tattoos.
Go ahead and read that title. What that title say?
Hegseth invites controversial Idaho pastor and self-described Christian nationalist to lead Pentagon's monthly prayer meeting.
There you go. Monthly prayer meeting. Now, this is already going wrong. So it's supposed to be a separation of church and state. You do not invite, again, your church, your spiritual or religious beliefs and begin to forecast them over the U.S. military. But I digress. Let's continue. What is some of Pastor Doug Wilson's beliefs?
U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth invited controversial Idaho pastor Doug Wilson, a self-described Christian nationalist whose church doesn't believe women should vote, to lead the Pentagon's prayer service on Tuesday.
So all of you sisters out there that think you're getting a fair shake from Hegseth, he don't even want you out there voting. He wants you to have nothing to do with that. But let's continue on. That's not the greatest of this man's trespasses.
Quote, "Thank you for your leadership, your mentorship, for the things you started, the truth you've told, the willingness to be bold," Hegseth told Wilson on stage as service members and government employees looked on.
So the truth you've told people were incarcerated slaves in the South. All right. I never heard tell of somebody saying that, Massa was good. He only beat us because we deserved it. He only enslaved us because we deserved it. You know what this is? This is equivalent. It's tantamount to someone robbing, let's say, 20 banks and get caught and then have to go to trial and all of that. And they say, hey, you know what we want you to do? We want you to be the judge, the jury, and everything. What do you think? What do you think that person going to give himself? A smack on the wrist. Oh, you know what? I won't do it again. You never adjudicate your crimes. And the crime of his ancestors, he's trying to gloss it over. That's what he's doing. These evangelicals are not here for justice. They're not here for righteousness. They see the trespasses and transgressions of their elders, and they put a little honey and butter on it. It wasn't that bad. Y'all love that. Master only whipped you when you needed it. You only picked that cotton because you love your cotton clothes that he put on you. I think that was somebody talking about that. It was that Jesse Lee Peterson was talking about. He glad. He got captivated because
they civilized us.
They civilized us. That is the mind of demented people. And again, speaking on a spiritual level, these are people trying to adjudicate. These are people trying to gloss over the trespasses and transgression, theirs as well as their forefathers. You know what? Let's pause on him, or let's drop him because we can go further. Let's go over to Ralph Drollinger, another one of the many evangelicals, again, that is surrounding Trump, surrounding him, giving him these type of thoughts that these people that were enslaved were actually connected and affectionate like a son or a daughter. They was treated very well. That kind of demented thinking goes forward. Just like right now, Trump really don't care. He doesn't care whatsoever about life. I've never seen such a commander-in-chief. Even we're going to get there. When a troop dies, I remember, previous commanders-in-chief, whether it was, even Biden, Obama, the Clintons, the all of them, the Bushes, they would be somber. They would put it out there. They would console the family. But to Trump, it's like a farmer finding out that one of his chickens died. Oh, really? A chicken died? What happened? Fox got one? Let's move on. Let's get another one. Let's move on. And so, again, that kind of theology and doctrine come from people who are, again, callous to the nature and the cares of people. Let's talk about Ralph Drollinger. Who is he? Let's bring that article up.
So this is saying U.S. troops say Iran war briefing invoked Armageddon, the return of Jesus.
Now, this is what Pete Hegseth and Paula White and Ralph Drollinger is whispering in the ears of Trump. That this war, this conflict in Iran is really here to persuade and invoke Jesus' return. Let's read on.
Let me get back to it. A wave of complaints from U.S. service members alleges that military commanders have linked the war with Iran to biblical end-time prophecy, including references to Armageddon and the return of Jesus, according to a report by veteran journalist Jonathan Larson on his Substack newsletter. The Military Religious Freedom Foundation, MRFF, says it has received more than 110 complaints from troops across the U.S. Armed Forces. The reports involve over 40 units across at least 30 military installations, according to Larson's reporting. Some complaints describe commanders framing the war as part of God's plan and invoking biblical prophecy during official briefings.
So again, the U.S. military is very, very eclectic. You have Christians, you have Muslims, you have Sikhs, you have all types of people there. But they have the commander-in-chief or the Secretary of War, the Secretary of Defense, having these monthly prayers talking about you are part of the bringing, again, you got atheists in the U.S. military. You are a part of bringing in of Jesus, as if the Most High needs your assistance. The Heavenly Father, God, has never, ever required man to do things so he can do a thing. He did it whether man wanted to or not. He needed no assistance to bring the flood, but again, Paula White, Drollinger, and all of these other guys believe that they must forward this so that they can bring forth Armageddon. Let's read on.
I got some more information on Ralph Drollinger.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to bring that up. This is actually from his Wikipedia page.
Let's finish this one. Then
Finish that? Okay,
yeah.
come on. All right. We can go back to that. So it says, zoom in. According to a complaint described in Larson's Substack, a commander speaking to non-commissioned officers linked the war directly to biblical prophecies. The complaint says the commander told the officers that President Donald Trump has been anointed by Jesus to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to earth.
Donald Trump has been anointed by Jesus, like David was anointed, like the righteous kings was anointed. If Donald Trump was anointed by Jesus, then Epstein is John the Baptist. Look at this foolishness. Look at this madness. A man that is enthralled in the Epstein files, pure allegations of high wickedness, PDF files, was anointed by Jesus. This is what, again, these fundamental evangelicals that are ingratiating themselves with Trump, whispering in his ear, you're great, you've been anointed. And he raises up and say, what? I'm great.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is, we talk about like David. He trying to be anointed like David. He was anointed, and God said he was going to go and free the Israelites from the Philistines. Right. So he went to war and conquered them. David himself was on the battlefield fighting many of these wars. But what about Trump? What happened in the 60s when Trump was supposed to go to Vietnam?
Right.
I got bone spurs. I can't go.
Can't go.
And this is the man who's supposed to be like David, anointed by Jesus to bring about the Armageddon. He can't even go and pick up an M16, and yet he's anointed.
Right. I have no respect for those people who want to command standing armies but never been a part of an army. They're so quick and equipped to send your children to war to die, and they don't know the fumes, the smell, the allure. They don't understand the gravity of war. They really think it's a comic book. They really believe you signed up for this, so if death come upon you, you in that death mindset. That's not why people join the army. They join for honor. They join to protect their land. They don't want to die. They didn't seek a death wish. But people who evade, signing up for war, now they want to be the commander-in-chief. It may be compulsory service for everybody who want to be the president. I think that I think that's befitting. Mm-hmm. Me personally.
It used to be like that. Mm-hmm. But then, like in the 1800s, all the presidents you see, they used to be former soldiers.
Right.
You think Ulysses S. Grant, he was a general.
George Washington.
Yeah, George Washington. They start off as generals who went to war. And then over time, it started to change, like in the 30s and 40s, started to change. Really, I think, what's his name? Who was that guy? Eisenhower. I think he was one of the last presidents who was a general at one point. And then it flipped from generals to lawyers.
Yeah.
They all went to law school, and that's
Bankers.
what made, and then former senators and things like that.
And it makes it so easy to go to war. And this is why a superpower like America has been in war. I don't think there's a decade that passed that they haven't been in war. Mm-hmm. So it is just war after war after war. This here with Iran is absolutely avoidable, nonsensical. And we're coming from a spiritual perspective. We're going to talk about even more. We're saying that he is being influenced by false advisors, false prophets, people who do not understand true biblical eschatology, true biblical prophecies, and they're putting forth an agenda because they're seeking to invoke. It's almost like not waiting for the baby to come. It's like, I want to break the water. I want to have a C-section. Let's go and pull that baby out. You're going to go through all that violence. You're going to go through all that pain and suffering. Just let it naturally do what it does, is what a real saint does. Let's go on.
I got a little information on that. Ralph Drollinger from it's Wikipedia, but it should be accurate enough.
What you got?
Says Ralph Kim Drollinger is an American clergyman and former professional basketball player. He led the White House Bible Study Group, a study group sponsored by 10 cabinet members, which held weekly meetings each Wednesday during the first Trump administration. Skipping down to where it says Capital Ministries. It says actually he formed this in 1997. In 1997, Drollinger founded Capital Ministries, a ministry organization that provides Bible studies, evangelism, and discipleship to political leaders. The organization has founded ministries in over 40 U.S. state capitals since then. Drollinger leads Capital Ministries in Washington, D.C., and what is referred to internally as the Member Bible Study in the U.S. Capitol. Drollinger also leads several senior Trump administration officials in similar groups at the White House and provides Bible study printouts for Donald Trump himself. He actually branched out into other countries too. It says he's in Mexico, Honduras, Paraguay, Costa Rica, Uruguay. Political philosophy. We can read that real quick, and that'd be it for here. Drollinger is a conservative evangelical Christian who describes his beliefs that there should indeed be a, quote, institutional separation of church and state, but that the church should still, quote, influence the state. Drollinger is also on record being anti-LGBTQ, anti-women's rights, anti-immigration, climate change denier, declared Catholicism as one of the primary false religions of the world, so on and so forth. But he believes in not the separation of church and state, but the church should influence the state. This is one of the people top in Trump's cabinet influencing everybody.
Top evangelical influencer to Donald Trump, telling him spiritually, advising him what is the next step. Like I said, he has no resistance of crossing that line of separation of church and state because he believed that the church should influence the state to go to war with Iran. Why? Because Donald Trump has been anointed. This is your anointing upon you, that you go and kill 160 plus children, bomb them in Iran, bomb thousands upon thousands of people. And I'm going to tell you truly, that is an ultimate cowardice way of fighting, man.
Yeah.
That throwing and lobbing bombs from thousands of miles away is the ultimate cowardice way. And I'm not going to talk about, war is war and it shouldn't be waged unless absolutely necessary. But it sometimes is so gruesome that it happens few and far between. But that just lobbing of a missile over there, we're going to send out tomahawks. What do you kill? I killed 500 people. These are faceless people. You know nothing about their heritage, their culture, their names, their age. You know nothing. It's just we killed 500 people.
The thing with modern warfare, with the drones now, it becomes more like a video game. Because you actually they literally got, I think Microsoft is working with the government. And so these soldiers who are controlling the drone actually have a Xbox controller.
Wow.
And they're controlling the drone, sending real bombs down to blow people up with an Xbox controller. And so they've gamified war until you actually get boots on the ground, until you're actually in it.
There you go. And they're shell shocked. PTSD is upon them because it's real. I think you was mentioning that the other day about how when the Ukrainian conflict kicked off, you had a bunch of youth going over there. Is this Call of Duty? I'm going over there. I'm going to go and shoot up some Russies.
Yeah. They thought, and that's the beautiful thing with Iran, too, because Israel, the United States, they're used to fighting wars in like Afghanistan, Iraq, where most of the combatants, the most they might have is maybe an RPG. They got some AKs. Some people are throwing rocks and sticks still. And so they used to going in, shooting a few people up. And I think we looked it up. They Americans in Iraq lost about, I think, 4,000 soldiers, something like 30,000 wounded. That's a lot. But compared to, say, Vietnam, World War II, some of these other bigger wars, the Korea War, those are small. So America's used to fighting these little basic wars. They think war is like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these soldiers who were in Afghanistan, who were in Iraq, a lot of from other nations too, like Germany, European countries, Canada, they were like, hey, Ukraine, Russia's invading our friend. I'm gonna enlist. I'm gonna be a volunteer soldier, a foreign soldier over there in Ukraine. And so they went thinking they were gonna get Afghanistan again. And when they went to the meat grinder. There was something like tens of thousands of foreign volunteers in Ukraine. And so they're used to, in Iraq, having air superiority. They're used to having, the Iraqis had basically no real military, especially the insurgents. They don't have an air force. So they're used to whenever they call in airstrikes, they come, and that's it. They're not uncontested. But when they went to Ukraine, we're fighting Russia, who had the same jets, sometimes better than what America has, same sort of armament that they're used to using on somebody else, being used on them. The number of foreign volunteers plummeted, dropped down to like, it's maybe a few hundred, maybe 1,000. When it was 20, 30,000 people went over there to help, they all left if they didn't die because they thought war was like Call of Duty. They thought war was going to be like even Afghanistan. And that's the same thing Iran. Israel is used to going and carpet bombing Gaza and not really getting any real, anything back. But Iran is a different beast. It is a different animal in this case.
Ukraine is a different beast, as you're saying. Even though you have people over there, they instituted the draft. Conscription is there. And you have people who are Ukrainian citizens leaving, running away, getting away from it. Because why? They see it's a meat grinder. There are videos out there, they got like these draft military guys roaming the streets. And if they see a man, any man, you don't even have to be of war age. You don't have to be in the teens. They nabbing up dudes 60 and 70 years old, forcing them, if you can hold a gun, to go to the front lines and get shot up. And these dudes are trying to defect. Soon as they see some of the Russians, they just giving up and take us, knowing that, they're prisoner of war. War is serious. And like you said, the Iraqi war or the Gulf War, America was fighting against, once again, Iraqis who was getting old Russian Soviet equipment, old stuff. I mean, stuff that was made for World War I even, and World War II. And it was just stockpiled up, and they was doing that. And America just came through and just brushed through them, completely ran through them. And at some times, like when they depleted all of their munitions, it was people. You see them on TV throwing rocks. You see that happening in Israel today. They're tossing rocks at armored vehicles. And the same thing in Afghanistan, even worse. These people in Afghanistan, you'll hear some of the soldiers saying that they were the most primitive type people. They knew how to grow poppy seeds and shoot an AK-47, a Kalashnikov. And this is what they was about. And America came through and still stumbled there too. Look at that exodus through Biden. Leaving all that equipment and material there. These were people, and believe it or not, if you look on any map, to the left of Iran, you have Iraq, and to the right is Afghanistan. And who was giving the Iraqis and the Afghanis these weapons? Iran. Have you ever seen America go around and say, you know what, I like that Iraqi pistol. That thing was amazing. Never. Because they don't have an Iraqi pistol. The Afghan don't have a rifle. But you know what America did? They looked at what is it called? A Shahid?
Something like that. Shahed
drone that the Iranians created. And America looked at that and was bewildered. They was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Why? Because this drone cost some, estimates vary. They said around $10,000 to make. It's like a lawnmower. Got a lawnmower engine on it. But it takes $1 million missile to take it out. And so as they sending thousands upon thousands of these drones out there, America is spending billions of dollars trying to shoot them out of the air. It's like somebody trying to shoot a mosquito. using 45 caliber weapons to try to shoot a mosquito. You're going to go broke. You're going to deplete your stash. So what did America do? I like that.
Copied it.
Yep.
Great idea. Not only that, see, the world is pushing that Iran is primitive. They want you to believe that they're Afghanis. They want you to believe that there are primitive Iraqis. Anybody formulating a nuclear missile, anybody that's putting together a nuclear bomb knows physics and knows chemistry. They're not a backwoods people. The Iraqis were never doing that. Even though Bush came up and they got yellow cake. You're lying. You're lying. All right? They lied. But these people were actually enriching uranium. That takes intelligence. And so these are an intelligent people. On that alone, you know that this is going to be a different conflict. It really is. All right? And so if you can get out of the sector of Western media that are always going to tell you, we're winning. Yep. Even though you may be losing, we're winning. If you can just open up your consciousness and look at both sides, then you can decide for yourself. Critical thinking is a thing that they have robbed from most people. And so now you have that Shahed drone that America turned around and made a copy of their own. They took it and reverse engineered it, and they're using it. Let's bring up the Lucas drone that America reverse engineered.
And before we move forward, we actually have a caller in Zoom.
Okay.
Bring him up.
All right. Hold on one second, right? Yeah. And let's talk about that. Anybody else want to join us on this? Definitely reach out, contact us through Zoom.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Caller, give us your name. Let us know where you're calling from. Can you hear us, caller?
Yeah, he is. He's not unmuted yet.
Okay.
Go ahead, unmute yourself. You should have access now. Go ahead and unmute yourself and come on in.
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent.
Good.
Excellent, my brother.
Good. This is very powerful, man. So I do have a question. My question is, with everything you just said about Iran, how does Iran's military compatibility compare to United States and Israel in a direct conflict?
Right. It pales in contrast to armament, money, and all of that. But same thing was there in Vietnam.
Yep.
The Vietnamese didn't have all the jets and the missiles and all of that. But did America win that conflict? Some people say arguably no. Some people say emphatically they lost. All right. Yeah. So it's not all about just standing armies coming into a battlefield like back in the day. You may see that in the old movies, the red coats. They're standing there and they're, Prow! And then you get your turn to shoot, Prow! And they just keep shooting till there's no more. Guerrilla warfare is a thing today. So if they ever put boots on the ground, you're talking about people that was born and raised in the mountains. That's one of the things with Afghanistan was a huge problem. It's entering into the mountains trying to fight. And these people have bored in for thousands. Remember, these are the biblical ancient Persians, a part of them. You got the Kurds, you got all that. You got a lot of mixture over there. But for the most part, these are the Persians, intellectual men, intellectual people. Again, this is not just a parallel war. So it will be, boots on the ground would be absolute horrendous for any Western power.
And if I can, I was looking up some stuff. Well, for one, another point on that too is that, if you're looking at just military might, Iran is the loser. But we're not just looking at that. You have to look at morale and the will of the people. Mm-hmm. And so America did some things that is actually galvanizing and unifying and angering the Iranian people. So we're going to get to that a little bit later. They killed their supreme leader. Now, imagine if somebody comes and kills Donald Trump. If somebody killed Donald Trump, do you think that all these Christian nationalists are going to just say, it's over? Or they're going to say, I'm upset that they killed my guy? And so it's the same with the Iranians. They have a will that is stronger than just weapons. They can kill 1 million Iranians, but they have 92 million people. And so you're going to have a lot of people causing an uprising. And so it's not just as simple as going in and blowing things up. And two, the terrain of Iran, that's another thing when you factor in war. You have to look at the terrain. A ground invasion of Iran is going to be horrendous. It would be utterly horrendous because Iran is mountainous, it's dry and arid. And so imagine trying to take a tank up a mountain. It just ain't happening. And they said they got I was seeing some reports on it. They have bored tunnels into these mountains where they're storing some of their missiles. And so you can drop a bomb on a mountain. What's it going to do to the mountain? It's going to shake up some of the ground a little bit, but you're not going deep into the mountain and blowing up those missiles. And so the terrain of Iran is going to cause some serious problems for any sort of ground invasion as well.
Absolutely. And caller, stay on the line. It is not an asymmetrical confrontation when you look at manpower, money, and armament and technology and all of those things. They don't have a nuclear weapon. America is flush with nuclear weapon. But as we are talking about right now, it becomes asymmetrical when you factor in the terrain, the resolve of the people. You said it was like assassinating a president. I will go further and say it's like assassinating the Pope. This man was the clergy leader for millions upon millions of Shiites. All right, we're talking about all in Bahrain, all throughout the Middle East, and even here in the Americas. This man was their leader. And so Paula White should have told him, instead of ticky-tacky, she should have said, you don't need to do that. The man is aged. He's 86. He's probably going to be dead before he's 90. He was paralyzed, had a stroke. Right arm didn't work. Don't touch that. Men in the past knew. We talked about that, right? In World War II, right? Did they kill the Japanese emperor? Nah, they didn't touch him. But all the generals, they was getting ready to bomb all of them. They said, leave that man alone. Even though he knew he was responsible, left him alone.
I just saw a picture of, I think it was either General Patton or General Dwight D. Eisenhower took a picture next to Tojo.
Yeah.
During, in 1945. Yep.
They had reverence and respect. They knew. But once again, he is ill-advised by his leaders amongst him. Leaders amongst him are saying, he's pagan, kill him. You don't do that because what are you going to do? You're going to enrage. You are now, they raised up, I believe it's the black flag of, I forgot what it is. I think it's revenge. Yeah, it's some Arabic word, but that means kill him on spot. I'm going to let you in a second. It is absolutely not asymmetrical in that sense, but it is when it comes to the terrain and all the other things that. And lastly, I'll say on this before I let the caller back in. Lastly, Americans do not have the stomach for this war. And I'm just going to say it. Look around your neighborhood. How many of these youth that are in these weed stores, smoking weed, popping pills, popping beans, out here playing video games all day, ready to go out and look what they said about the what was that, the Gerald R. Ford? The toilets got stopped up. They didn't get stopped up. Somebody plugged the toilets, they said, because they didn't want to go. They were saying we are scheduled for R&R back home. These people are not feeling it. The local people around are not. You got ICE over here killing folk. You think people are ready to go fight a war, not for America, but for Israel? So the answer is no, my brother. Let the caller back in.
Right, and that's real powerful information. And so with everything that's been said about how it's affecting the civilians over there, my next question would be, what role does proxy groups like Hezbollah and regional militias play in Iran's strategy? Oh,
what they've always played. They are these proxy groups. They are essentially a little platoon or a little battalion, whether it was in Lebanon, whether it's in Yemen, or whether it's in Bahrain. You're fighting on multiple fronts right now. You're not fighting, again, as we said, it's not asymmetrical in the sense that you have all the money and whatnot. It becomes asymmetrical when you begin to have all of these tentacles. Like right now, the Israelis are not only bombing Iran, they're now bombing Lebanon. Why? Because Hezbollah is now said, you killed the Shia. They said they were going to sit this one out because you had this confrontation with Sunni and Shia Muslims. We're not going to get into that today. Being unified and galvanized. They're saying that we're all Muslims, and you killed the Shia leader, and now it's time to reactivate. It's time to now come in and fight. So they're in that battle now. So you got the Israelis now using some of their missiles and some of their men to bomb Lebanon when they could have concentrated all of that over into Iran.
If I could, I know we're kind of jumping around, but if we can grab that thing from Naftali Bennett, he was the former prime minister of Israel, and so these Israelis, they are warmongers, and so like you said, they're bombing Hezbollah. They still got an active war going on in Gaza. I mean, the news kind of forgot about that, but that's still going on. And now on top of that, they launched a new attack on on Iran. And so these Israelis are warmongers, and they're not only warmongers, they're pushing America as like their bulldog to go and bite whoever they want them to bite. So now this guy, Naftali Bennett, let's go ahead and pull that up. Look what he's saying. Look at what he is saying. What was this? When was this posted?
This was posted 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Let's go and bring that up. So even before they attacked Iran, look what he said.
Threat is emerging. I want to be very clear.
We'll start from the beginning.
Turkey and Qatar, new Turkish threat is emerging. I want to be very clear.
Hey, pause for a second. That little piece on the back of his head is a door. That when he lay down in the Matrix, they plug into it and plug all manner of demons in him. Go ahead and let him play, though.
Turkey and Qatar have gained influence. New Turkish threat is emerging. I want to be very clear. Turkey and Qatar have gained influence in Syria, are seeking influence elsewhere and everywhere throughout the region. And from here, I warn, Turkey is the new Iran.
He said Turkey. Turkey is the new Iran.
Sophisticated, dangerous.
We can drop that. Basically saying we need to start shifting our focus and get ready to fight Turkey.
After
Yeah.
we decimate Iran, let me use you again to move over to Turkey. After Turkey, Egypt is the new Turkey. Now decimate. The Sudan is the new Egypt.
And you know what's crazy too? For one, that means they counted Iran as a victory already.
Yes,
They didn't even finish that.
Absolutely, no doubt.
And the second thing, Turkey is a NATO member.
Yep.
Turkey is not just like this random Arab country. They are literally a NATO member. They have a military alliance with the United States and Europe. How are you going to attack Turkey? They're part of NATO. But this is the Israeli mindset of just anybody, anything, anybody can get it. Any sort of Muslim empire can go get it. And why? Because they got that Greater Israel Project.
There you go. The Greater Israel Expansion Project. They want everything from the river Nile in Egypt all the way over to the Euphrates and all of Saudi Arabia. They want to say that it's half of it, but all the way to Yemen, all the way to Oman, all of it. And apparently, they want Iran.
Yeah.
They're going beyond the promises, or what they say is the promises, which have nothing to do with them. Let's go back to the caller, though. You had another question behind that before we let you go? Is the caller still on with us?
Yeah. No, that you guys answered all questions, man. I think that this is a very powerful podcast, man. I'm glad to be a part of it. You guys are doing well.
Appreciate it, my brother. Continue to listen. Like and subscribe if you will.
And anybody want to join Zoom, you can feel free to do that. Click the link in the comment section to get on Zoom and have that conversation with us. We're going to be answering callers all throughout the show.
Right. Before the caller called in, we were talking about how America is emulating Iran's technology. All right. This Lucas missile, Lucas drone that they created is pretty much reverse engineering of the Iranian drone. It was so successful. And you only seen this in times of like World War II. When you see America looking at Hitler and looking at the Nazis and looking at their technology and like, we want to reverse engineer all of that. I believe Hitler was the first one to make the jet engine. Right? I think he was the first.
The Germans.
The German, yeah. So this is stuff that they gravitate to, that technology that's going to give them the edge in the war. So letting you know that this is not a normal war. Let's bring that up.
All right. The U.S. is using repurposed Iranian drone technology to attack Iran. A military expert explains why. Amid the biggest concentration of American military power in the Middle East in decades, the significance and irony of one aspect of the U.S. war on Iran has gone largely unnoticed. In the opening salvos of the attack, the U.S. quietly introduced its low-cost, uncrewed combat attack system, the Lucas, a one-way attack drone modeled on the cheap technology that Iran itself has been developing since the 1980s.
There we go. No more. We see clearly here that this didn't take place. Like I said before, these are people enriching uranium These are people attempting to make nuclear missiles, making drones. These people have technology in their hand. That alone lets you know there's going to be a different war. It's not going to be throwing a couple of bombs and then people throwing back rocks. These people have the and not only that, strategically, though, it is in China's best interest that Iran stay Iran and not in the hands of America, because most of their oil is coming from Russia and Iran, and it used to come from Venezuela, and America already cut that off. And so China's already helping Iran by way of satellites, letting you know where the positionings are, how that they can put their Fatah 2 hypersonic missiles on bases and all throughout Israel. And it's in Russia's best interest, too, to support that as well, because they have an ally through the Caspian Sea. A lot of things may pop off. This could be a powder keg.
Yeah. And you see, like I said, something that you didn't see in Iraq or Afghanistan. You see the Americans actually copying things that the Iranians have produced. And so they have a lot of their own armament, which you're going to get into. Before we get into that, we're touching on how Trump and the politicians of America have bad spiritual leadership, have bad people, or people giving them bad counsels. So
they're spiritual advisors giving them horrible counsel, fake, false prophecies, ingratiating themselves, rubbing shoulders to push forth their Christian or their fundamental evangelical prophecies, which is pure, utter trash.
You got to do Mike Huckabee. We're going to grab that link.
Mike Huckabee.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that name, don't it sound like a foot fungus? It sounds like a disease that is terminal.
You got the Huckabee?
Yeah. What I got, Doc? Just give it to me. Is it leprosy? Is it HIV? You got the Huckabee. Oh, kill me. You got Huckabees all in your body. Well, let's go ahead. He got the worst name ever.
Mike Huckabee.
Huckabee.
Talking to Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson is, he's not a savvy person spiritually, but he's well connected. He has a lot of inside information. And he was talking to, there's other people who spread the same doctrine of Genesis 15 with Abraham being promised this quote unquote greater Israel project. And so he was interviewing Ted Cruz. Another senator said the same thing. Oh, bless those who bless Israel. Curse those who curse Israel. So I'm going to bless Israel. Mike Huckabee saying the same thing, and that they're supposed to have this land that they're trying to conquer from Egypt all the way through Turkey, Iraq, into the Euphrates. What did Mike Huckabee say about it? Let's play that.
15 says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God the news that his descendants will inherit the land. And you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. And that would include like basically the entire Middle East.
Christian Zionism. I want to go back because that's where we started.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis.
Yeah.
You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
It'd be fine if they took it all. People already live there. People already have that land for hundreds, thousands of years so far. Since the real Israelites have been removed from that land, other people have been dwelling there. It's fine if these people go and take it all.
That's tantamount to saying that the indigenous people, the Native Americans, the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Sioux Indians, just take it all. Take it all back. You're not going for that, Mr. Hucklebuck. You're not happening. First and foremost, I love that in that interview, Tucker said, well, if they are the true indigenous people, let's get a DNA test. Mr. Hucklebuck, you don't need all of that. You know why you don't need all of that? Because it is illegal. Why would you make a DNA test illegal? I don't think there's a country on earth where simply taking a swab in your mouth and sending it in and coming back with your ethnicity would be illegal.
You know, it's crazy. Not to just get all over the place, but not only is it illegal there, but Israel actually controls a lot of the DNA that comes in through 23andMe, MyHeritage. So if you're sending your DNA, if you're taking those tests, getting your mouth swabbed and sending it out, more than likely, Israel has your DNA.
There was a geneticist, I believe his name was Shlomo Sands. he spoke about it. Not only him, Arthur Koestler, back in the day, wrote a book saying that they have absolutely no genealogical, no DNA, no ethnic connection. He said, that's why he wrote his book. He called it the 13th tribe. For the Jews to be Jews, there had to be a 13th tribe. You would know that there's no such thing. But the reason it's outlawed is because, like Benjamin Milakoski, a Polak, a Shemitic Jew, nothing but Eastern European DNA coursing through his blood. If he took that, the DNA would simply say, you are 100% European, sir. You have no connectivity to this land. So instead of winning on facts, they win by force. It is illegal, save for a court order for anybody to do what I just said. Mm-hmm. It's illegal to go to Israel and say, hey, Benjamin, open that big mouth of yours. Put this cotton swab. It's illegal. It is illegal. You will be put in jail trying to prove that, man. Once again, society has suspended reality to go along with this falsehood, this false narrative, this deceit that they're placing out there. Again, Huckabee out there literally defending them. He is an ambassador from Israel to America and not the other way.
I don't condone this, but, I'm sure there's probably some women who can relate. If you accuse your man of cheating and you say, all right, well, look, give me your phone. You shouldn't be doing this, but let's say people do it. And he says, nah, what you need my phone for? What's your next suspicion? Mm-hmm. Oh, you got something you trying to hide. Mm-hmm. So why is it this? It's the same thing with these people. If you say, hey, let me see your records to prove who you are. And they say, well, what you need to see that for? Just trust me. You should already be suspicious that that's not what they have going on. That they are not really genetically tied to the ancient people written about in the book.
Mm-hmm. If you would go down on the list to, I believe it's number 8, Larry Ellis. We're going to come back to the Lucas Missile. These people, the trope that the Jews own everything, they like to tell you that's anti-Semitic when you say that. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the facts, it says that. There was a time when Donald Trump, by way of the AIPAC and all the Jewish lobbyists and the Anti-Defamation League was like, look, the greatest threat to Israel are young black men or young black people.
Yeah.
And what was this happening at? It was happening on social media, and it was happening a lot on TikTok. Who owned TikTok? China. And so they put forth this narrative, the Chinese, they're listening through your phone. These people are the masters of projecting. I believe it's an article. It's not a video. They are masters of projecting. They're projecting.
So YouTube on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we may get it. So they are the masters of projecting, simply meaning what they would do, they put that on other folk. And so what did they do? They turned around. Larry Ellis, a Jewish billionaire, did what the trope said, bought up everything, bought up the whole TikTok. And put forth this rules that you was being followed. Yeah, you was being manipulated. China was saying you American love dancing and twerking and all kind of, reveal parties. Over here in China, we do math things on TikTok. We do science project. We're going to give you that. But when Larry Ellis got it, anybody who got TikTok now, it has changed. Not only that, the influencers. I heard that they dropped their pay tremendously. And increase if you're talking about Jewish stuff. Let's bring up that link, if that's the right one.
All right. This is says Israel wins TikTok. Larry Ellison and the constellation of billionaires will
and where we get this from?
This is coming from Responsible Statecraft.
I believe this is a Jewish publication, but let's read on.
All right, Larry Ellis and the constellation of billionaires finally get their way buying the very app they wanted to kill a year ago for being too pro-Palestinian.
Read on.
A year ago, powerful critics in Congress and the tech world were complaining that TikTok was promoting anti-Israel messages and were suggesting it needed to be shut down. So
what do we do? What do we do? Look how they think. So what do we do? Did they think, hey, you know what? Let's put some videos on there counterbalancing the anti-Jewish videos, telling the truth. Let's show our DNA. Let's show the history. Let's go and show you all the archaeology. What did they do? No, let's buy it and shut them down. That's how you win arguments? Like you were saying, the analogy with the phone. What if your husband just got the phone and burnt it? He just threw it in the fireplace and it's burnt. See? Nothing ever happens. Let's read on.
Turns out it didn't need to be eliminated. TikTok is a message force multiplier after all, and only requires, apparently, the right people to own it.
There you go. That's that pimp talk. See, we didn't do anything. Just as soon as we got ownership, everybody was pro-Jewish. You know, I followed a trend. This is my first time following a trend in my life. It was a trend going on, not to just get rid of the app, but to sign off the app, like literally get rid of your membership. And I was like, oh, and I had to go through hoops. They literally put it in airplane mode. All right, take it off airplane mode. If not, you're not going to be able to destroy your account. And I had to literally sit there for about 7-8 minutes to go through it and then deleted it. And then they said, it won't be deleted until 30 days. If you wanted to come back, I was like, look at this man.
Wow.
So if you're listening and you got TikTok, delete that trash.
Yeah, TikTok is trash. Talking about ownership of these people or what they own. A lot of y'all probably have seen the video from this guy, Tyler Oliveira.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he's the guy who went to, I believe he went to a village somewhere in New York and showed how there's this Jewish community and they basically live on welfare and they've taken over the city and they also taken over the school board. And so they're defunding schools for the goy, quote unquote, and then funding it for themselves. And so then he went from there to this place called what was it? It was called
Morristown?
No, it was Lakewood, New Jersey.
Yeah, there you go.
And so it showed how there's this community of those people calling themselves Jews, and a lot of them have 10 to 15 kids per household, but they're living on welfare.
Yep.
Now pause for a second. I may add that this man has done videos on Somalians. He's done videos on Mexicans. I believe he did a video on Israelites. I believe he did one on UPK.
He might have.
He's done it on all. He went to Epstein Island. He illegally broke into. He done videos about everybody, got major views. But now he does one in New Jersey about the unmentionables.
And they said they tried to silence him.
He said they did. They demonetized his YouTube and completely dropped him from Patreon. Completely dropped him.
Patreon's supposed to be private, right?
That's right.
Right.
And it's supposed to be open. They're supposed to be invited. So you do a video. You didn't say kill somebody, hurt somebody. You didn't say any of that.
Yep.
You just simply exposed that these people, and he's not lying. He didn't go there and coerce them. He's literally, where you work at? And he's like, I study Torah. Where you work at, I said. I study Torah. How many children you got? I got 22. And then he move on.
Yep. And so one thing I would say before we move on from that too is if this mega channel can get demonetized, we're starting out our first episode. We're talking about these people. So make sure you support. Make sure you like, share, you're subscribing because it's really going to take the people themselves. And make sure you're going to our sponsor, Infinite Waters, because they have went out on a limb to make sure to support small creator like us. So make sure you're going in and supporting them. Go on their Amazon page and order from them. Support a small business who is supporting a small YouTube channel like us.
There you go.
But moving on with Tyler, I found it interesting. Go
Before
ahead.
you say that, though, this may be our grand opening and our grand
closing,
closing at the same
absolutely.
time, all right? We're going in places where a lot of people won't go, talking about the facts. But you got it. You got it.
Another thing that was interesting with this video from Tyler, he was showing how not only are a lot of these people on welfare, that's crazy. They call us the welfare queens and stuff.
Poachers, yeah.
But they have a whole community of people who are surviving on welfare. Not only do they have welfare, they said some of the most 501c3s are established in Lakewood, New Jersey. Now, I found that
Really?
interesting. Yeah.
Really?
I found it very interesting because there was one that I recognized.
Which one was that?
I hear the commercials all the time as I drive around. I'm in Atlanta. I hear the commercials all the time. I hear on the radio.
Put it out.
Man, you might have heard cars for kids, nature, car for day.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
If you donate your car to Cars for Kids, please get on the Zoom and talk to us about that.
Please do. And look, they didn't use their voice. They used the Goy voice.
Yep.
1-800 cars for kids. They didn't say 1-800 the cars for the kids. You help the Jewish people.
Yep.
None of that. Once again, a chameleon.
And I researched it just to confirm it. They literally say on their website it's a Jewish foundation. Now think about it. It's Cars for Kids. Remember, they're stationed in Lakewood, New Jersey. Now what did Tyler go and show about them? That these people are on welfare and they're having 10 to 20 kids per household.
So it's a charity. You got an old car. And then what radio station that normally play on?
Oh, yeah. 95.5 conservative
radio. You donate your car. They come pick it up. They auction it off and sell it. And all the money go to Jersey. It goes to Jersey to their kids. So it should say 1-800 Cars for Jewish Kids. Cars for Jewish Kids. Send your car today. That's what you're doing. Why the deception? Because most people, if they said that, most people are like, nah, we got poor children in my neighborhood. You know, I thought you was helping people all abroad. And not only Jersey, that's probably going all the way back to Jerusalem, going to Israel, you know? And you're the Goy, though. You're the Goy. Good point.
Huh. But yeah, that's it on Tyler.
Let's go back to that Lucas. Let's go back to that Lucas missile. Let's read about that real quick. I want to cover that before we move on.
That Lucas drone.
That Lucas, drone.
Yeah.
It's befitting. We must talk about that. Once again, I want people to understand. And let's pull up that clip about Trump, what he think about your children possibly dying in the war. This is and could be an international, catastrophic event. It could be. And I'm not putting out hyperbole. It has all the makings to be just that. Again, we have countries with nuclear weapons, China, Russia, and even Pakistan being a Muslim nation sitting on the sidelines, possibly getting involved. And then obviously you have Western powers, but you will be charged to be a part of this. And so America is showing their reverence and respect for their enemies, not in mouth, but in action. And as we who are spiritualists know, you can judge a tree by its fruit. And so if somebody is copying or emulating, that means that they admire them for what they have done. Just like the Native American Indians. They gave them hell in these wars. Many, many hell in these so-called Indian wars. So much so that they have helicopters, the Chinook. They got missiles, the Tomahawk. And we jokingly say it all the time, Negroes didn't put up a fight. And so you don't have the Tyrone tank. All right, you don't have that. But the Native brothers, they put up a serious, tremendous fight. So much so that the powers that be was like, I like that. I like that. You know, I'm going to name my missiles, my tank, my helicopters. I'm going to name it after that. And the similar thing is happening with the Iranians. Let's pull up that article.
All right, back to the Lucas article. In the opening salvos of the attack, the U.S. quietly introduces low-cost, uncrewed combat attack system, which is called the Lucas, a one-way attack drone modeled on the cheap technology that Iran itself has been developing since the 1980s. Those head drones were said to have been inspired by technology developed by Israel, which has co-led the assault with the U.S.
You see how they lying? See how they lying? They want to steal everything. But I must put it there, people. I must put it there that this won't be one of the wars that have happened in our lifetime. I'm a little too young to talk about and testify about Vietnam. But I know a lot of people that were in Vietnam, and they were never the same when they returned. Their bodies were not the same. Bullet wounds and fractured bones and PTSD, or what they called back then, shell shock. They were not the same. And even now, one of the biggest ailments of American troops, I know because I have family members there, is that PTSD. It sounds a lot sweeter than shell shock. It does. But a lot of people suffer from, humans were not made to battle like that. They were not made to fight like that. In worst case scenarios, yes. But let's talk about Trump. What do you feel about you having your son, like the brother who called earlier, man? You know, what type of warfare is this going to be? You may feel that little itch within you. Remember after 9/11?
Yeah.
I don't know, those people were old enough. After the planes hit the towers, you had people going to, they said that the recruiting stations were filled. People like, man, let's go get them. Let's go get them. I don't think that's the case today. They're seeing what ICE doing. They're seeing where your money is going. They're seeing that this is an Israeli-mandated war. You're going to put your life on the line for Benjamin Netanyahu. Let's read how Trump will feel about it, though, if you or your children were drafted and your children succumb.
I think he's still grabbing it.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
We're not going to just do this with Maduro, then leave.
Jumped like 22 seconds into that.
We're going to make sure that that country is run properly. Great nations do not want to fight endless wars. We're getting out of the endless wars. We have to do it.
No new war. We don't need the wars. Foreign lands, countries you've never heard of, countries that don't even want us there. We will keep America out of foolish, stupid, ridiculous foreign wars.
The plan is to get out of endless wars, to bring our soldiers back home, to not be policing agents all over
That's probably the wrong one. I think you had the right one, the
we
short.
were crazy.
But you see, firstly, Trump is talking about, he's been talking about no new wars from his first term. And look what he's doing now. He has flip-flopped on the leash of the Israelis. They're guiding him and telling him where to go. And look what he's already done. He's already bombed several countries on top of invading Venezuela, which is a whole nother podcast in itself. And now they're bombing relentlessly Iran. Yeah, play that.
CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is.
There will be more.
Likely.
So send your sons to the meat grinder.
Possible.
Send your women to the meat grinder. There will be more.
CENTCOM.
Which want to send your children for Benjamin Netanyahu's war? Look how impersonal he is. Sadly, there would be more. Why? How many of you woke up this morning and was like, the Iranians had a nightmare that the Iranians was coming to get us? No, I do know that I've had some serious concern about Mossad is listening in on my phone.
Yep.
You know, they're tracking me through TikTok, or they're tracking me through this app. And we supposed to send our sons over there to die for whatever greater Israel expansion plan? You answer that question. Maybe you do. Maybe you feel with patriotism like it was in early 2000 with 9/11, and you just want to go and send your children to the meat grinder. We said it before, right? War is hell. It is hell. There's no mercy. There's no rules. Even though they try to come with the rules of engagement, it's none of that, especially with a country like Iran. All right? It's already guerrilla warfare, even with all the technology being thrown back and forth. And in the fog of war, there's always this misinformation campaign. All right? Western media is always putting out, Iran is almost out of missiles. We killed them. They're over there suffering. But if you start to look and listen to their media is putting forth pictures that you won't see. I don't know if you know it or not, but Israel made it, again, illegal for anybody to take pictures of the destruction, the death that is happening via those Iranian bombs. And there are news commentators that are talking about, hey, we really don't want us looking over there at that stuff because, it's highly secret. No, they don't want you to see the death and dismemberment.
There was a CNN reporter who made a mistake, or as they call it, a Freudian slip, She was talking about the Israelis setting up I think the Iron Dome, some of the missile launchers from there, and she was like, oh yeah, we would film, but Israel won't allow us. I mean Israel doesn't want us to go and film. She literally said they will not allow them.
Yep.
Or they forbade them, said do not go and film that.
And obviously they're going to polish it over and say, it's because it's, you're broadcasting where our missiles go out at. Look, China has already taken pictures via the satellites of all of your places where your Iron Dome is at. You really don't want to publish the truth. These people are professional, international liars, deceivers. And that's what it means in the Bible to be a devil. You are a deceiver, a trickster. And these people are masters at it. And again, it is your job to critically think in these last days because your life very well can depend upon it.
You want to get Netanyahu and some of his propaganda?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go. Let's do that.
Let's get that. Benjamin Netanyahu, he's had some propaganda about Iran since the early 90s, basically the 80s.
I believe it was in the 80s as well.
Let's grab one of the links. Yeah. Go ahead and grab that. And we'll see Netanyahu. He's been talking about this for a long time. I mean, a very long time. He's been talking about Iran and how close Iran has been to a nuclear missile since 1992. Some of us are grown adults and ain't even been born in 1992.
That's right.
But since then, they've been just months away from a nuclear missile. Let's play that.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to do it.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile
Weeks away in
material
2015.
for an
That's 10 years ago.
The United Nations, yes.
bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from
6
being
months
about
in
90%
2012.
of having the rich uranium for an atom bomb. Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Ladies and gentlemen, time is running out.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing
1995.
nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years since 1995.
He keep going with that shtick every year, looking for a gullible president until he find one. And guess what?
He got one.
He found one. Absolutely, the same thing. Demands is off. You know what? There's a video. We don't have it, and we don't have to get it because we're getting deep into this class. But I believe a student, they say, was filming him in one of the houses, and he was talking about America. And he saw he was being filmed. He's like, cut that off. I'll tell y'all the real story. And either the kid just didn't know how to do it, didn't want to do it, just kept it running, and he spoke in his Yiddish tongue, which I'll tell Mr. Huckabee is not Hebrew. It is a modern version, a rendering of what they thought Hebrew was. But nonetheless, he spoke in this Yiddish dialect, which is German and Polish and all manner of European languages coming together in their Yiddish. He said, well, the Americans are gullible. The Christian, 80% of them support us, and we can manipulate them. And that's what he's doing right now, manipulating. Iran has a bomb. You send children, your treasure, your tax money, and you go over there and overthrow. And we're going to do everything we can year after year to insist persistently that you go over there and do some injustice. We started the class with that. That's how it was with the Persians in the days of old with Artaxerxes. And Amalek was in his ear telling him, you need to do this, you need to do that. And Artaxerxes was wise. He caught wind by way of Esther and said, oh, this guy's a liar? Put him and his children to death. And if anybody was wise, they would remove, first and foremost, these failed politicians from around them. Secondly, the spiritual advisors. And thirdly, the worst of all, remove these people that are pushing forth this Zionist propaganda. You got it.
Yeah. Like I said, they've been doing that for years, for generations, have been going and trying to influence various politicians to go and invade whomever they will. And so now it's Iran's turn. Iran is on the list, but you see him since 92.
Yeah.
Even before then, talking about Iran has a nuclear bomb. I believe in that same meeting you were talking about, they were talking about, or maybe some other ones. He was also talking about Americans are gullible, and we can abuse them, we can misuse them, we can actually tell them anything. I think we actually might have a clip of that. But he is talking about how if we can make up something, he literally said, if we can make up something where it's beyond us, it's something, whether it's spiritual, a higher calling, we can rally the people to go and do whatever we want.
You know what? Pull up that one with Mike Pompeo real quick. And the evangelical pupils, they believe what their pastors and leaders and ministers say, and they save up their monies and they go take a trip to Israel. I saw a video recently where an Asian woman was out there like, we love Israel. Jesus for Israel, Christian for... And he had to be about 14, 15 years old. Walked up to her and spit a loose loogie all on her cranium. And she looked at it, wiped it, and said, this is holy spit. It is holy. And then she turned around a couple of seconds later like, but it stinks though. And then he beat her. And the guy was jesting like, is that a holy beatdown? And then it was telling you how people go over there and try to deal with the misinformation that has been put out. Like, this is a welcoming place. This is a place for all. There are more Christians in Bahrain or in Egypt than it is in Israel. And it never used to be that. Gaza had Christians, and they bombed them to smithereens. And so there are Christian churches in Israel, the Church of Nativity, I believe, and the guy has come out several times and saying the church is falling in disrepair because we can't get Christians to support this church. But yet they're sending billions upon billions of dollars for this synagogue or for this school or for this healthcare system. It is insane, the failed eschatology, the failed doctrine that these people espouse to and they're placing upon the people. Let's get that Mike Pompeo. Let's get that article and bring that up. This is why people believe what they believe.
Lying not to make America great again.
So back in the day, I believe he was under Trump's first term. He was the CIA director. Look what he said he did.
All right, I was a CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole.
That's all you need to know. On your old dime, go and read the rest of it. This is what the CIA do. We lie, we cheat, and we steal. Who do you lie to? Everybody. They are propaganda artists. And if you don't use critical thinking, then you are a victim of people like this. Again, look at the purchase of TikTok. Why? So that they can espouse and spread forth their disease, their toxicity. They're doing the same thing on every platform, including this platform. They throttle people who put forth truth as much as possible and then block them, completely disappear. And so the CIA, this is what they did. They lied, they cheated, and they stole. As a matter of fact, read a little bit more on that. I believe it was a little bit more. Now, Mike Pompeo is now talking about supporting Israel. He is a main proponent, again, of that evangelical theology, pushing it forth to support this nation by any and all means possible. Continue to read.
This is the line from a speech made by U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in Texas, following a burst of laughter from the audience. As a response to the line, Pompeo hastened to add, it reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
These were the good old days. What the good old days when you could just lie on CNN. Look at Rubio. Rubio came in and essentially said, we had to shoot at Iran. The reporter said, why? Because the Israelis shot first and we knew that they was going to shoot at us.
I actually want to grab that next.
Let's go there.
Let's grab that up. Point number 7. So we got Marco Rubio. He was doing just that. And then he came back and tried to walk it back. A liar, just like Mike Pompeo. Instead of saying, oh, yeah, that's what I said, or whatever it may be, he's like, no, you misunderstood me. You're wrong. You're wrong. Let's play it and show you without a doubt what Marco Rubio, what's he, the Secretary of State?
Yes.
What he said about why America attacked Iran. We're going to get into some of the details about the war, the conflict itself, but we're looking at the leadership, the bad spiritual advisors. We're the priesthood talking about how he has fake prophets and fake teachers and false advisors around Trump. And part of them are some of these people like him, Marco Rubio. Let's play that.
Israel was going to strike Iran, and that's why we needed to get involved. Today, the president said that Iran was going to get.
Yeah, your statement is false. So that's not what I was asked very specifically. Were you there yesterday?
Yes, I asked the question.
And so the president made the very wise
this is what he said yesterday.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. The imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us.
No, were you the one that, because somebody asked me a question, said, did we go in because of Israel?
He said, he's telling you that Israel went and attacked Iran. And they were in the middle of some negotiations. And Israel went and attacked, and so America said, we got to go do it. Instead of them really coordinating, or instead of America, the stronger nation, calling the shots, they got led by the nose by the Israelis to go and attack and bomb Iran for no reason. And like I said, ask yourself, are you willing, are you ready to go send your sons, your daughters, because they're sending women too, or even yourself to go and fight Iran, and for what? Fight this Epstein war, and for what?
You know what? Use that same analogy in your own personal life. Let's say you got a neighbor that you don't like. And that neighbor came out, you guys had a argument about the flowers or whatever, and he said, I hate you, I'll kill you. He turned around and went inside the house. And you said, he said he was going to kill me or beat me up. I need to go and kill him before he kills me. And you go over to his house and make a demand. I need you to get rid of your lawnmower blades and all the knives in your house. Take the gasoline, anything dangerous, get rid of it. And he said, the hell with you. And you just shoot up his entire house. Will the police come around and say, great work, excellent job? He threatened you. You had no right to kill this man. It wouldn't happen in any reasonable, logical sense. So why does this fly? Because we're not dealing with logic. We're not dealing with reason nor righteousness. Every Christian or spiritual person should literally be condemning this war. Nothing about it has anything to do with spirituality whatsoever. And once again, the people who are rubbing shoulders and giving counsel, their spiritual advisors, are abjects. They're spiritually inept. They have nothing to do with spirituality. They are fomenting bloodletting. These people, once again, are the worst of the worst.
Yep, absolutely. And so, like I said, these people are lying, and they are telling you to go and fight in this war that we already said is not just this simple basic war. This is not Iraq. This is not Afghanistan. And those were hard wars. Like we talked about PTSD or shell shock. You had soldiers, American soldiers, coming back from there with PTSD. Imagine what's going to happen in Iran. We talk about some of the weaponry that Iran has. They have these drones. They also got this other weapon. You heard of it, that Fatah 2?
Oh, yeah, the hypersonic missile.
Yep.
Yeah.
They got some serious munitions that Iraq, Afghanistan, they did not have. Even the Vietnamese, they did not have. We can go and grab that. I think we got somebody actually in Zoom too, but we're gonna talk about this, and I think we got some callers want to come and talk. But
this is Iran.
Let's go ahead and pull that video up, and before we get to some of these callers.
Fastest missile ever. They call it the Fatah missile. Iran says this is Iran's fastest missile ever. They call it the Fatah missile. Iran says it is a missile designed to change the rules of the game. Fatah is a medium-range missile with a range of about 1,400 kilometers. That puts a large part of the Middle East within reach, but range is not what makes it frightening. The speed is. Iran claims Fatah can reach hypersonic speeds, more than 10 times the speed of sound. At that speed, reaction time shrinks to just a few seconds, and its flight path is not a simple arc. Fatah Fatah is designed to maneuver during its terminal phase, making it far more difficult for air defense systems to track and intercept. This is Iran's fastest missile ever. They call it the Fatah
We can
missile.
kill that.
Iran says it is a missile designed to change the rules
That's
of the
powerful
game.
right
Fatah
there.
is a medium
And so
range missile with a range of about 1,000
it leaves the Iron Dome moot,
That puts a large
powerless.
part of the Middle
And
East
any
within
defense
reach,
that
but
any
range is
Western
not what makes
society
it
has,
frightening. The
when you
speed
can
is.
move the
Iran claims
missile
Fatah can
around,
reach
you know,
hypersonic speeds, more than
that
10
trajectory
times
of
the speed of
tracking
sound.
the
At that
missile
speed,
and then,
reaction
you know,
time
hitting
shrinks
it
to
bullet
just
to
a
bullet,
few
yeah, that's
seconds, and its
amazing.
flight path
But
is
if you
not
change
a simple
trajectory
arc.
every
Fatah
few
is designed
seconds,
to maneuver
you
during
know,
its
you
terminal
actually
phase,
send the
making it far more
computers,
difficult
the
for air defense
AI,
systems
into
to
a
track and
tailspin.
intercept.
They don't know what
This
to
is
do.
Iran's
This is
fastest
how they're
missile
getting
ever. They
around
call
the
it
Iron
the
Dome
Fatah
to this
missile.
day.
Iran says
You know,
it
they're
is a missile
depleting the
designed to
munitions over there,
change
and
the
they're getting
rules of
ready
the
to
game.
send that
Fatah
type
is
of
a medium
hypersonic.
range missile
I
with
think
a
they
range of
actually
about
went and
1,400
and shot
kilometers. That
one
puts a large part of the
at
Middle
an
East
American
within reach,
radar
but range
system,
is not what makes it
and
frightening.
so that
The
radar
speed
system
is.
obviously is
Iran
supposed
claims
to
Fatah can reach
scan and
hypersonic
detect all these
speeds more than
other
10 times the speed of sound.
missiles
At
that
that speed,
Iran
reaction
has
time shrinks
that
to
they're
just a
shooting
few
into
seconds,
Israel and some of
and
these
its
other
flight path
bases
is
and
not a
countries.
simple arc.
And so
Fatah is designed to
they
maneuver
sent
during
that
its terminal
Fatah
phase,
2
making it far more
and went and
difficult for air
destroyed this
defense
American
systems to
radar
track
base,
and
and that
intercept. This is
radar
Iran's
cost
fastest missile ever.
that
They call it
system
the
alone
Fatah
cost
missile.
$1.1
Iran
billion.
says
They
it is a
said
missile designed to change the
$1.1
rules
billion,
of the game.
and
Fatah
one
is a
missile went and
medium-range
took that out.
missile with a
I
range
believe
of
they
about
said that those three
1,400
F-15s that
kilometers.
fell,
That puts a
I
large
think
part
one
of
of
the
them
Middle
they said was
East within
$300 million.
reach, but range is
If I'm
not
not
what makes it
mistaken.
frightening. The speed
Something like
is.
that.
Iran
You know,
claims Fatah can reach
it's costing.
hypersonic speeds
Matter of fact,
more than 10 times
I believe
the speed
that
of sound. At that
USS
speed,
Gerald
reaction
Ford
time
out
shrinks to
there
just a few
costs.
seconds,
I
and its
mean,
flight
it
path
is
is not a
astronomical to
simple
keep
arc.
that thing
Fatah
afloat
is
every day.
designed to maneuver during
Amazing.
its terminal phase,
I
making
mean,
it far more
it's
difficult
costing.
for air defense systems
It's costing
to
you.
track and intercept.
Right?
This
This is
fastest missile
money that
ever.
could have
They
been
call it
used,
the
as
Fatah
people
missile.
always
Iran
say,
says
to
it
pay
is a
your
missile
rent, to
designed
help
to
the
change the
homeless
rules
over
of
here,
the
or to
game.
help this
Fatah is
business
a
or that
medium-range
business.
missile with a
But
range of about
the bidding of
1,400
Mr.
kilometers.
Milakoski,
That puts a large part of the
it
Middle
comes
East within
first.
reach,
And I'm going
but
to tell
range
you,
is not
something
what
on the
makes it
side, we're not going to
frightening.
go
The
there,
speed
but
is. Iran claims Fatah can reach
the
hypersonic
so-called
speeds
Arab
more than 10
allies
times the
feel
speed of sound. At that
slighted
speed, reaction time
because they got
shrinks
an
to just
Iron
a few
Dome too.
seconds, and its flight path
And they're
is
supposed
not
to
a simple
knock
arc.
out those
Fatah is
Iranian
designed
missiles,
to
and they're
maneuver
asking the
during its
Americans,
terminal
why
phase,
are they
making it far
getting
more difficult
through?
for air defense systems to track
And the
and
reply
intercept.
simply is
This is
because we've
Iran's
sent all the
fastest
munitions
missile
to
ever.
our
They call
partner
it
that
the
we
Fatah
love.
missile. Iran says
They
it
sent
is a
all the
missile
munitions,
designed
or
to
for the
change
most
the
part,
rules of the game.
all
Fatah is a
most of it
medium-range
to
missile with a range
Israel.
of about
And so the
1,400
Arabs are
kilometers. That puts
unprotected.
a
The
large part
Saudis
of
are
the
like,
Middle
wow,
East
we
within
thought we
reach,
were your
but
number
range is
one
not what
partner.
makes it frightening.
And
The
you're
speed
finding
is.
out
Iran
straight
claims
up
Fatah
who
can
their
reach
number one
hypersonic
partner
speeds
is.
more
Matter of
than
fact, not
10
even
times the
partner.
speed of sound. At that
Who's
speed,
their
reaction time
handler?
shrinks to just a few
And it
seconds,
is
and its flight path is
Benjamin
not a simple arc. Fatah is
Milakoski,
designed to maneuver
a
during its terminal
Polak
phase, making it
posing,
far more
having an
difficult for air
identity
defense
crisis,
systems to track
posing
and
as
intercept.
a
This is
Hebrew.
Iran's fastest missile
You
ever.
got it.
They call it the Fatah
Yeah, so I think some of the callers
Iran
fell
says
out.
it is a missile
Once
designed
again,
to change the rules
anybody
of the
want
game.
to
Fatah is a
come and
medium-range
talk and
missile
join the
with a range of about
discussion about this war in
1,400
Iran, this
kilometers. That puts a
Epstein
large part
war,
of the
this
Middle East
distraction
within
from
reach,
all
but
the
range is
Epstein
not what
files.
makes it
Come in and
frightening. The
join.
speed is. Iran
You can
claims
click
Fatah
the
can
link
reach hypersonic
in
speeds more
the
than 10
pinned
times
comment
the
in
speed of
the
sound.
chat
At speed,
and
reaction
join
time
in and
shrinks
talk
to
to
just
us
a
as
few
we
seconds, and its
actually
flight path is
continue
not
on
a
this
simple
discussion.
arc.
Right.
Fatah
These
is
are
designed
critical
to maneuver
times,
during
and
its terminal
more
phase,
critical than
making
the
it far
times
more
is that
difficult for air
you,
defense
once
systems
again,
to
must
track
be
and
lucid and
intercept.
clear in the
This is
mind.
Iran's
Don't get
fastest
caught up in the
missile ever. They
propaganda
call it
because
the
this
Fatah missile.
waves waves
Iran
of it is
says
being
is a
poured
missile
upon you
designed
through
to
your
change
phone,
the rules of the game.
TV,
Fata is a
through
medium-range
friends,
missile with a
through
range of
churches.
about
It is being put upon you to
1,400
sway you.
That puts a
Look at
large
the
part of
false
the Middle
flag
East
that
within reach,
Mossad
but
did
range is
in
not what
Saudi.
makes it frightening. The speed.
And I heard
Yes,
they're doing
Iran
again in
claims Fata can reach
Azerbaijan.
hypersonic speeds,
In
more
Saudi
than 10 times
Arabia, the
speed of
biggest
sound. At
oil
that
company I
speed,
believe in the
reaction
world
time
is
shrinks to just a few
Aramco.
seconds, and its flight path
All right,
is
we
not a
find
single arc.
Tucker
Fata
Carlson
is
brought it
designed
out.
to
He
maneuver
find
during
out
its
that
terminal phase,
Saudis
making it far more
arrested
difficult for air
Mossad
defense
agents
systems to track and
supposed to
intercept.
be the
This is
American
Iran's fastest
allies
missile ever. They call
planting
it the Fata
bombs
missile. Iran
on this
says it is a
refinery.
missile designed to change the
Planting
rules of the game.
bombs.
Fata is a medium
Why would an
range
ally
missile with a
do
range
that?
of about
Because they want to get the
1,400
Saudis
kilometers.
to
That puts
help
a
them
large part
fight.
of the Middle East
Imagine
within reach,
that.
But range is not what makes
Your
it frightening.
neighbor
The
wants you to
speed
help
is
him
Iran
fight,
claims
so he
Fata
come
can
in your
reach
house and
hypersonic
shoot your
speeds,
son and
more
blame
than
the
10
enemy.
times the speed of
Is
sound.
that a
That speed,
real
reaction time
ally?
shrinks to just a few seconds,
Now
and
we
its flight
find
path
out
is
that
not a
Iran
single
turned
arc.
around and said,
Fata
we
is
claim
designed to
everything
maneuver during
that
its
we've
terminal
done.
phase, making it far
We
more
did
difficult for
not
air defense
bomb
systems to
our
track and
brothers,
intercept. This is
our
Iran's fastest
Saudi
missile
Arabian
ever.
brothers,
They call it the Fata
Aramco.
missile.
They,
Iran
that's
says
their
it is a
bread and
missile
butter. We wouldn't do
designed
that.
to change the rules of the game. Fata
The
is a
Iranians said we
medium-range missile with
only
a range of
are
about
shooting
1,400
American targets. They asked, why are you
kilometers. That puts a
shooting
large part
up
of the Middle
the
East
Burj
within reach,
Khalifa?
but
Why are you
range is not
shooting
what makes it
the
frightening. The speed,
United Arab
yes,
Emirates or
Iran
in
claims
Dubai?
Fata can reach
He said
hypersonic
because
speeds, more than
Americans
10
are
times the
storing
speed
their
of sound.
soldiers
At
in
that
those
speed,
hotels.
reaction time
And
shrinks to just a
that
few seconds, and
is
its flight path is not
100%
a simple
true.
arc. Fata
All
is
the
designed to maneuver
contractors and
during
all
its
the
terminal
soldiers,
phase,
when they
making
came
it
off
far
the
more
base,
difficult
they
for air
put them in
defense
these
systems to
hotels.
track and
right? They got contracts with them. And I know this firsthand. And so this is why they were shooting, but they turned around and said, we did not shoot. We did not bomb Aramco. We wouldn't do that. They are hitting American targets. This is called a false flag.
Yep.
I think and they're doing that to try to get other people involved, just like they did with 9/11. Dragged America into a war that they had no business really being in. Are you pulling another video about Aramco?
Before you go there, it's just coming to me, right, that we need to be aware of false flags that may come right here. And so they had the I believe he was a Sudanese guy when they shot up a bar in Austin, Texas or something like that. Said he was all of that.
And he had that shirt, the hoodie said property of Allah.
Come on now. They probably said, put on this shirt, put on this flag, and take this fake gun.
Yeah.
You in the movie, buddy. We're going to give you $100,000. Go over there and shoot. These are blanks. You know? He went on there. Where's my money? You're going straight to jail. So these false flags, just like 9/11, they could be bigger. They could be bigger. They can do all kind. They're talking about, activating these sleeper cells. I don't put anything past them, but it could be another 9/11. Keep your head on a swivel, as they say, meaning walk circumspect. Observe everything that is around you. We are in a war, and the scriptures say that nation are a war of ignorance. Go ahead and play what you got.
Air defense systems to track and intercept. This is Iran's fastest missile ever. They call it the Fatah missile. Iran says it is a missile designed to change.
Go ahead.
Fatah is a medium-range missile with a range of about 1,400
I still hear that Fatah 2
kilometers.
thing.
That puts a large part of the Middle East within reach, but range is not what makes it frightening.
Just close that. Close all those. Go to 55 seconds on that right there.
Are normal and decent, unlike the Russians and the Chinese, he says. Hello again, everybody. Something very revealing is taking place today. You know what Aramco is? You've probably heard of Aramco. It's like one of the biggest oil companies in the world. It's the Saudi oil company, right? So obviously it's one of the biggest in the world. Well, yesterday, and we didn't see this as a big deal when it happened, but they were hit with a drone strike yesterday. Here's the video. Here's the video. It was mentioned, but not a big deal was made out of it because so many places are getting hit. And there it is. Now, this is not just any refinery. This is the Ras Tanura oil refinery, the biggest in the Gulf, by far, one of the biggest in the entire world. 550,000 barrels a day. Is that what the number is? I'm gonna check myself as I say that, as a matter of fact, because I want to make 550,000 barrels a day are processed through that site. You can imagine then how important that is. So there's a real question now. Everybody assumed that it was Iran, right? Iran boasting, but not here. Apparently, Iran has sent a message to the Saudis telling them, as soon as this happened, by the way, they sent a message saying, hey, we didn't do this. We've been shooting a lot of missiles, but that one was not one of ours. Here, watch this.
How about the Saudi oil fields just across the Gulf? Why is that a target?
No, we are not responsible for that. We have already been in touch with our Saudi brothers, and we have talked about this issue. Iran is not responsible for the attack against the oil installations in Saudi Arabia.
And by the way, Iran has been bragging about all the other targets that they've been hitting. So
we see that he said Iran's been bragging about all the other targets. So he's going to go and say how Tucker Carlson kind of pointed out how it's more than likely that this was a Mossad false flag attack. That Mossad went, which is the Israeli CIA, they went and bombed the Saudi Arabia oil fields and oil refineries so that they would point the finger at Iran and maybe get involved. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to put this pressure on Iran. But like he said, it's not really working. The Iranians went and said right off the bat, hey, we've been striking a lot of places, but we didn't strike you. Not right there. They've been striking other Arab countries, but they've been striking the American military bases that are there. And they've been relentlessly pounding Israel. And so, like we talked about earlier, it's it's made illegal to go and actually film that stuff, but people have been doing it. Let's pull up some of those images we got some from Tel Aviv. So the Iranians are really bringing the war to Israel. And so they got some videos of them overwhelming the the Iron Dome. Yeah. So that air defense is not really this Iron Dome.
And we're going back saying that we don't know what's AI and what's not, but we only putting out there what other alternative media are putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
And we are seeing that the Iron Dome, the mighty sling of David, is being literally ran around. I mean, like a little, like playing with a little kitten. They're going around it with these hypersonic missiles.
And be wary. Don't fall for the propaganda. And I've seen people outlining on news articles and stuff. They say things like, Iranians killed in a strike, and they say it like just like that. That makes you think, oh, what's going on? But they frame when Iran hits Israel, children died by Iranian strike. And now you're subtly they know psychology, so they subtly trick your mind to make you think, look at Iran like the boogeyman, and Israel's this innocent baby lamb.
No doubt.
She's getting beat up.
When they bombed the girls' school in Iran, nobody heard a peep.
Mm-hmm.
Then they hit a hospital in Israel, and they was, they hit residential targets and da-da-da. But you didn't tell them that the military base was connected to that hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And then how is the pot calling the kettle black?
Yeah.
You have decimated every hospital in Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't be a victimizer and the victim at the same time. You can't be robbing me, and then I pull out a gun and shoot you. You're like, call the police. This is crazy talk that we're undergoing right now. Once again, critical thinking is going to be part and parcel of you making it through here with a sound mind. Let's go ahead and play the clip. Wow.
That's right there in Tel Aviv.
Serious. That's the capital.
You see how that missile struck, then that other one came up?
Yeah.
That's their Iron Dome missing that missile.
Imagine you hear that in New York City. Yeah. Your high rise.
Yeah.
Washington, D.C., Atlanta, L.A.
Let's pull that other one up.
Austin.
Let's pull the other link up. Yeah. That's the thing. We're so insulated. Yeah. From war, from real conflict.
And I'm not saying that that's coming here. I mean, it very well could be if China and Russia get involved. But what we're saying right now is that your children, or you, like I said, there is no age on conscription.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say, well, I made it. I'm 40 years old. No. They can pull an 80-year-old man if they want and draft you into the war.
And one thing we've been saying is just preparedness. I mean, we've seen with all this going on, Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz, and that's
it.
Was a major channel for exporting oil and out to some of the eastern countries.
Right.
And so, even though a lot of it doesn't come out here to the United States, we still are seeing a spike in fuel prices.
Right, because it is a big economic system. It's all together. Oil is oil no matter where it is on that stock market. And so if the price goes up in Europe, it goes up over here as well. But the actual physical, tangible oil is being restricted over there because Hormuz is shut down.
Yep.
And then they say 20 to 30% goes through there. And then LNG, some of this propane and all of that liquid natural gas go through that as well. That's only one part. We talked about that on our other platform. So knowing this, what do? Stock up as much as you can. You can get a canister, get an extra can to fill up your tank. It's a little bit late right now. But at the same time, if diesel, what is diesel, the price of diesel right now?
Diesel, at least in Atlanta, Georgia, last time I saw it was $4.39. And, we've been driving diesel vehicles for a minute. That's the most expensive I think I've seen it in Atlanta. I mean, obviously other places people might say, oh, that's nothing. But when you're used to seeing diesel for $2, $2.50, $4.36, almost $4.50 in some locations is a big jump.
And gasoline was $2.60 something just the other day. It's gone up to $3.70 something. So well over $1.
$3.78 to
there
be
you
exact.
Go. There you go. Brother just filled up. And what we're saying is be prepared. If you would have heard us a week ago, we would have said, you would have heard be prepared, go fill up. But as a consequence, go ahead.
And I will say we've been wanting to do this podcast for a minute. We were actually talking about doing this before the war popped off to let people know. But it took some time to get all the necessities ready. The engineer can tell you we've been putting a lot of work to try to get everything ready for you. So we appreciate y'all working with us as we get this out.
Absolutely. We hope y'all enjoying as well. Welcome to the 9th hour once again.
Right.
But once again, another thing.
And we hope that you support our sponsors. All right. They keep us on the air. All right. That Infinite Water. Very, very, very pertinent in the hydration and health process.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And that's the thing, a lot of people don't know about diesel, don't pay any mind to diesel. A lot of people are getting gas. Gas is expensive, but what most people don't realize is that in America, the bloodline of everything is diesel. All these trucks, these big tractor trailers that carry all the goods. When you go to Kroger, everything you get from that grocery store, everything came on a tractor trailer.
Walmart.
Yep, Walmart. Everything came. Y'all like going to Target?
That's right.
Everything came on a tractor trailer that ran on diesel.
The gas that you're getting at the gas station came through a tanker truck. Everything. If you got it, it came through a truck.
Absolutely.
Even if it came by train, when it got off the train and went on a truck to go to the store. There's no stores that got a train track that goes to the back. And so what Yeridun is saying that you're going to have to pay those shipping fees. That go directly to the cost of that food that you're now paying for.
Yep.
Or the electricity. Or whatever it may be. The price of everything is going up. It was already expensive. Here in the States, it's absolutely astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
And so now expect things to begin to increase exponentially.
We'll go back to that war. The Iranians bringing war to Israel. We got that video. It's from the city called Bat Yam.
Mm-hmm.
And they looking at some of the destruction that's going on there in Israel. If engineer, we can bring that up.
Behind you.
We can bring up that video right there and show that to the people because, like I said, this is not just. I mean, even with Lebanon, they were throwing missiles. They were throwing missiles over. But Iran, as you mentioned, is a whole different beast. This is not the same as the war in Gaza.
Right.
The war in Gaza, they've been steamrolling Gaza. They basically, I mean, they've been contending with Lebanon. Lebanon even was a bigger target than Gaza, but they've been struggling with that.
Gaza, they had a stranglehold over it for decades. They knew what came in and what went out. And so October 7th was no surprise to them. They knew exactly what was going on over there. This was even weaker than Afghanistan. This was weaker than Iraq. You essentially were fighting people with old Kalashnikovs. That's it, and rocks. And they came in brutally. And I'm going to tell you, personally, I believe that blew their head up. I don't know if you saw the footages of the Israeli soldiers putting on all the brassieres and all the, Gazan women clothes and them all on TikTok posing when the bombs went off. They thought, too, that war is just so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody can contend with us. Now you're finding these Fatah 2 missiles coming down and blowing up whole neighborhoods. You're like, what is happening? It's unfair. Call the Americans and get their children over here so that they can die for us. The Goys. Go ahead and play the link you got.
Is the wreckage from a ballistic missile launched by the Iranian regime.
Okay.
What you can see is a civilian apartment building
Civilian.
in Bat Yam, or what's left of it, after a ballistic missile directly hit this building. Numerous people were killed, hundreds were injured, and there are now soldiers behind me digging through the rubble to try to find the bodies. They are launching rockets at civilian buildings. This is what we need to stop.
Him and Bibi Milikoski are stank, bloated river corpse. This is what they are. You got the audacity. You got the nerve to talk about what was residential. You just obliterated. Gaza was all residential. You got Donald Trump over there. We're going to put casinos, and we're going to take the land. It's ours. And you got, look at the tension in his face. Look at the deception in his face. You want to talk about what they have done. This is what happens when you choose or elect a war. Civilians die.
And they bombed Israel one of the first things they did was bomb the girls' school.
Yes. Yes.
And killed like 170 children, I believe.
And they got people saying, "Oh, it's just casualties of war. That's just what happens." But when your residents get handled, they must be dealt with. Look at what they're doing. Propaganda, people, clear your mind. And I'm not saying that it is acceptable for what Iran did, but if you elect a war, the probability of civilian dying are very, very high.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play the rest of them.
Yeah, I think we got this other video just showing the destruction that's going on in Israel. Now, once again, sometimes, people kind of mix real footage with AI footage. So, take some things with a grain of salt. But nonetheless, the war is raging.
Israelis don't believe your lying eyes.
Right. But the war is raging.
Yeah. Wow. If this wasn't happening, why is it forbidden for you to record this? Now, I'm not sure if that's AI or not.
I think that's
it.
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
We don't know
the whole thing.
But I do know that the sentiment is real, though. If a Fatah 2 or a nuclear missile its explosion was there, you will not have this stoic face. You will not be, I'm going to walk in the midst of that radiation field. You're going to be hovered in some bunker crying, hoping that, praying for better times. It's nothing to play with, however they are playing with it. These people are warmongers. We have the black flags of jihad being raised up in many mosques. That simply means kill them where you can see them, wherever they are, wherever you find them, kill them. And so Lebanon, Hezbollah, is being brought into this conflict. And you got Israel now invading Lebanon, fighting on two fronts. They're really trying to use Goyim, the nations, to put forth this, to use them, so to speak, to bring forth this greater Israel project. Absolutely amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happened when people who are not a people try to behave like the people they're trying to be, if that makes sense to you. If I'm a man trying to be a woman, I can never do it like a woman and vice versa. If you are not Jew, see, Hebrews were made, their lot in life is to bring priests to the world. Their lot is to be that priestly class and to be the one that extinguish wars, be the peacemakers. And so when these nations are fighting against this nation, they're supposed to say, call up the Hebrews. And then you'll call up Judah, and Judah sit back and say, you did that wrong. You did take his territory, and you did take the resources, and you did do that. You know what? We're going to do this, that, and the other and make amends. Let's pray to the Heavenly Father. Let's make our sacrifices, and let's be brothers. Shake hands. Let's move on. But these people are behaving like warmongers. They're behaving like brute, primal beasts. They're behaving like the worst of people. Look at how they treat the people that they call Goyim. I never, for the life of me, this is a whole nother podcast, I'm going to speak on it shortly, how anybody can aid and support somebody who speak evil of your Jesus in their Talmud.
Mm-hmm.
According to their Talmud, your sweet Jesus is boiling in a hot pot of waste, crying because he violated the laws of their God. This is your sweet Jesus, and you're sending money. If there ever was and is an antichrist, these people are it. Period. Hard stop. You can't come in and add some theology on the back. These people do not believe in your Jesus Christ. Tell me your theology. How do you get around? Oh, we're going to teach them? It doesn't matter you teach them or not. They currently do not believe in Christ. And the scripture forbid you to aid someone who does not believe in the Heavenly Father. And so, once again, you have to suspend reality to make this theology work.
Yeah.
But we're not doing that. We're exposing it for what it is. Again, I'm going to keep a cotton swab. I think on the next show, I'm going to have one. It's going to be the cotton swab challenge. BB, Mr. Milikoski, Satan Yahoo. I will shut my mouth if you take this swab right here and I send it to another one. Get a DNA test on it. And if it comes back as
100% Polish.
Exactly. You come back, a Shemite, or you come, hey, I'll shut my mouth.
That's why it ain't happening either.
It ain't happening.
Ain't happening.
Nah. 100% Polish, Eastern European, probably some German in it, probably some Czechoslovakia, some Russian. That's where they come from. But I'm going to tell you, I've never seen it at a time like this. 50 years ago, my brethren were talking about this. Even more, 60, 70 years ago, they was talking about these people are not Jews, but these brothers were marginalized and looked at as street thugs. Oh, you guys are just anti-Semitic. And people are catching on to that, too. They shut you down with this one slander, you're anti-Semitic. You could turn around and say, I do not like matzos. You're anti-Semitic. Shut him down. He can't have a YouTube channel. I just said I don't like crackers that you guys make. It doesn't matter with these guys. Yep. If they don't like it, you do not exist. Not proving you're wrong. Your taste buds are flawed. This is why. Look at the chemical analysis. They don't do that. They look at you and shut you down if you say anything. Going back to the guy, Tyler, you said.
Yeah.
He looked around and said, I just simply told the truth. They don't want to hear truth. They shutting you down. Let alone a little us priests, pushing this truth in the last days. So things is happening right now. You talked about Azerbaijan. They turned around and they believe that was a false flag, sending a drone over there.
Yeah, that was another attack. Azerbaijan is another kind of like, not quite Middle Eastern, but, South Asia, South Middle Asia, kind of toward the Middle East country. More so European than anything. And there was an attack over there. And the Iranians came out and said, we didn't do that. That wasn't us. And so it's another one of those false flag attacks where the possibly Mossad is trying to get the Iranians to some country to join forces with them and go against the Iranians. And one reason they're doing this is like we've been saying this whole time. This is not like Gaza. This is not like Hezbollah in Lebanon. This is not like Iraq or Afghanistan. This is a whole another monster. And I think they're starting to see that. There's reports that it's not just about money. Even though America spent a lot of money, they said America already, it's been what, like 5-6 days, has burnt through about almost $2 billion. Not million, $2 billion. Some of us are struggling. Some of us can barely afford groceries or rent, but America in 5 days, 6 days, less than a week can go through $2 billion.
I pulled up at the gas station the other day and I saw it was at $8. Somebody came in and bought $8 worth of fuel. They got a gallon and a half of gas. Okay. But yet
that's the struggle.
Exactly. They sending $1 million tomahawks out there.
And people like that don't really top off.
Yeah.
That's not topping off.
It was $8 on the dot. All right.
That is, I need to get to work tomorrow.
I broke the little pity bank that I had, and I brought my coins together, and I went and paid for some gas.
And America in 6 days, less than a week, spent $2 billion, or I should say lost $2 billion in their missiles and also the destroyed equipment from the Iranians. So
and in life and blood and treasure. They lost how many? 6 servicemen?
Yeah, something like that.
Untold contractors out there.
Yep.
A useless war.
And so they're trying to get other people. And they said the main thing is not even just the money, because America can just print money. America has a lot more oil coming in now from Venezuela that they're using to actually, fill up their coffers. So money to them isn't really much of an issue, but the issue is some of these missiles. So they say those Patriot missiles that America has, it takes years to actually produce those. You don't just, tell the factory to start up and then next week you got some more Patriot missiles. Right. And so America, Trump specifically thought this is, we're going to go in a few hours, few days and conquer this. But the Iranians are actually in this for the long haul. So this is going to be, or looks like it's going to be a long, drawn out conflict. And if America runs out of missiles, if Israel runs out of missiles, other people involved. Let's get Saudi Arabia involved. Yep. Let's get Azerbaijan involved if we can. And then even European countries, they're not looking to get involved like that. I think Germany just said we're not getting involved. UK hesitantly,
came up against it.
Yep.
Hard.
Spain straight up came against it. UK hesitantly said the Americans can use their runways to take planes to take off.
And another component that's missing is these rare earth minerals that are needed to make these bombs are pretty much mostly being produced by China. America shut down their little, mining for rare earth. I believe it's only one. It's in California somewhere. And their, laws were so strict, they shut it down. Now they're trying to open it back up. They said it may take a decade to get that thing going again. But where are you going to get it from? You're going to beg China for these rare earth minerals to, again, increase your missiles and whatnot? This is a quagmire, people. It really is. It's not an easy thing. I can't tell you how the end is going to be, but I will tell you it's just not. It hasn't been easy from the beginning. And then having these failed, flawed spiritual advisors in his ear talking about Taki, Mini, Taki, Africa, bum Nigeria, Sudan. You know, that's not going to help. That's not going to do anything when the crisis really, really kick off. And Donald Trump is talking about you ain't seen nothing yet. So he's talking about bringing in some more severe armament. But, you know, Iran does have allies. You was talking about Azerbaijan. That had to be a false flag because Iran has no enemies with Azerbaijan. It was no strategy bombing them whatsoever. And there's no American bases there whatsoever. And so we know they are a neighbor of Iran. And so it looks like Mossad is like, hey, get Azerbaijan to be a nuisance to them. Get the Saudis to be a nuisance. Get Bahrain to be a nuisance. Get the UAE, Dubai to be a nuisance. You know, that's what they want. And, you know, it's a strategy, once again, pitting brother against brother. And let me say this. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. My brothers in America know that this has been there since the beginning of time. They pitted light skin against dark skin. They brought in crack in the 80s. They brought these things in so that, hey, you got crack, you making money? This your neighborhood. They brought in Crips and Blood. This wasn't us. They talk about Tukey and all of these guys were influenced. These guys were influenced to come against each other and kill each other. And even right now with the Kurds in Syria, Donald Trump backed the Kurds. And then all of a sudden, he got one of the, I think it was the Taliban leader, who's now the president of Syria. The enemy of the Kurds that he backed now backed him and brought him to the White House and said, you're now the president. You're now the president of Syria. These Kurds was like, you told us you was going to give it to us. We don't care. Now what they're doing, I don't think we have the clip, but I'll tell you. They now have come to, they came to Iraq and got the Kurds in Iraq and said, we will give you billions of dollars worth of guns. We need you to be the boots on the ground to invade Iran. They looked at him and laughed. See, those games are been played thousands and thousands of times. People are getting hip to the craziness that these people do. All right, all the divisiveness that they insert in people to cause brother to fight against brother. That is not godly. That is not biblical. That is some Cain stuff. That is the wicked. The righteous men never behave that way. This is acts of the adversary, that old serpent, the dragon, the devil. And nothing about this is going to invoke Jesus to come down and to save the church after all of this wickedness and deception is being spewed out. It's absolutely amazing the times we live in.
And you talk about some of the things that happened in the past in regards to how these people had used deception and they funded other people. We're talking about Iran. There's something a lot of people know about the Iran-Contra situation where Reagan was selling arms to Iran and some of the other Arabs, and they were using that money to go to Nicaragua to help overthrow the government there. And then on top of that, they were actually allowing some of these people from South and Latin America to bring in cocaine up to the Americas, and they were giving out to our community, and they were transferring over, making a crack out of it, and then legislating it to destroy our communities.
Come on.
And so this is what these people are doing. This is what people who have the same DNA and the same spiritual concept as Balaam and Balak to go and accuse and chant against certain groups of people, us. They were doing that to go and destroy our communities. And then
they were even divided in our communities. You had men like Jesse going up to Biden and said, we need to get these criminals off the street. We need a tough on crime bill. Throw them in jail and throw away the key. And then Biden coming up and Hillary Clinton coming up like they're terrorists. They're major monsters. We need to lock them up. Biden came up literally the ultimate racist. And this is how they operate. This is how they operate. Look at what happened way back in the day with child support. That sounds good, don't it? Sounds good. You're going to get child support. What about welfare? Same thing. All of this was put forth. It has this veneer of greatness, but the end result is to remove the man away from the woman and let the children suffer. Welfare was just that. Hey, give the welfare, take care of the well-being of the children. But it used to be back in the day, and it may still be today. Is the daddy in the house? Is he around?
Mm-hmm.
If he is, you get nothing. If it is, we're going to take it back from him out of his paycheck. And so there's this tacit suggestion, you need to get up out of here. I got a new daddy. His name is the federal government. Same thing with child support. Men who pay these, this is a whole different class, but I'm talking about that divisiveness, that these Amalekites, that the devil, that Benjamin Satan Yahoo is throwing on a global scale. It trickulates all the way down to your personal life. They would rather have you divided and miserable than together and happy. And so, yes, this podcast is talking about your mental stability, your spiritual stability at all, in everything. So definitely look at how they are springing this upon you in any form, any shape.
And we're giving some insight in some of the things that we want to talk about in this podcast. We want to talk about a variety of some of these topics, whether it be child support, that whole system, the prison complex, some of issues within our community, some of the history like the Iran-Contra crack in our community. That
gangs.
We're going to talk about something. Yeah, gangs.
We want to talk about, is Jesse Jackson a true leader that should be mourned?
Mm-hmm.
What about these that are living? Should they be applauded? The Al Sharptons.
Yeah.
I like to call Fat Albert. He's forever fat to me. You can't take your stomach. You can't take, what are they taking now? What's that?
Ozempic?
He was way before Ozempic. He had that tummy tuck. He had that stapled stomach thing. He going around. I heard the interview. I know I'm going off course. I heard the interview. I lost all respect. The tiny little kilogram of respect for him, I lost it. They asked him, how did you lose the weight? This clown said, I eat toast in the morning. I eat a banana in the evening. And I just lose the weight. You're a liar.
Mm.
You are a reverend liar. None of that is nutritious. None of that is healthy. None of it. And you're telling these lies to somebody, you're going to cause them to die. And so I lost all the little I had for them. But, yeah, should they be applauded? Should we talk about the Rainbow Push Coalition? Mm. What is Al Sharpton? Action Network or something? See, we can't do that we can't do it on the Shabbat class. It's just too much. Too controversial. But this is what this podcast is about.
Those are some things we want to talk about. He's a reverend. So we want to talk about the Christian church and how the Christian church has been deceived and has become feminized. We want to talk about, like we talked about Ozempic. That's a big thing. People are getting Ozempic face.
Mm-hmm.
They're having strokes and their faces are starting to droop. And this is because instead of working out, diet and exercise, and taking things to balance your hormones, people are taking the shortcut, injecting themselves with Ozempic. But as you start closing down this...
And losing weight is very, very hard because they have genetically modified everything.
Absolutely.
People are giving up. It's just so hard to lose weight because what we're eating is pure, unadulterated trash. And so they're giving the Ozempic, but not telling you that it's taking from calcium in your bones. People's bones are very weak. And like you said, they're losing muscle more than fat. They're losing fat too, but they're losing a lot of muscle. And like you said, they're losing muscle in places you didn't even know you had muscle. Your cheeks, your jaw muscles. Who ever go to the gym? I'm working out my jaw muscles.
Yep,
absolutely. I also heard, man, when they take that Ozempic, once they stop taking it, they actually get heavier than what they were. And when your bones weak, you get more heavy. Ooh, there's a recipe for disaster right there.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah, so we want to talk about these topics, so definitely support, like, subscribe, send this stuff out to everybody, and do your part in spreading this podcast out.
And I want to show a few more or one more thing before we talk in this episode, this first episode, the 9th hour, about Iran. As we talked about, don't believe the propaganda. We know that America and the Western media will paint Iran like the boogeyman, but we got
pause for 1 second. Mm-hmm. Before you finish that, let's get one caller. We need to check the Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see if we can get one caller.
I wanted to mention
we had one caller already. Let's see if we can get another caller in here. So at the very least, check the Zoom to make sure it's there. And this is very risque to have callers. Now, I see a lot of podcasts out there. I don't see too many live.
Mm-hmm.
Like you literally call in. There's some out there. I haven't listened to every podcast. But live, get your opinion out there. But go ahead.
Actually, no, I'm glad you said it, because I actually wanted to say that. This is your last chance. getting ready to close down. So if you got any questions, anything you want to ask, anything you want to put forth, go ahead and join the Zoom. The link is in the top. It's the pinned comment in the chat. So you want to join in on Zoom, go ahead and get there so you can actually come and have a dialogue with us. But go ahead.
I was going to say, while we wait for callers to join in, just for the layman, what do you guys think that they should be doing right now to prepare, what's to come in the future?
Well, before you do that, one thing I want to show this post about Iran. So don't believe the hype or the propaganda. Iran is this boogeyman, because Iran has actually been very kind toward us and other groups of people, and they have documented history on that. We got a video of the now deceased Ayatollah talking about how they let some of the prisoners go, or the hostages go during the Iran hostage situation. But we're not going to show that. We're going to go to his Instagram post. You can go and find that dialogue back from, I think it was like the late 70s, early 80s, when the now deceased Ayatollah was talking about that. But let's look at this Instagram post. So it says Iran's solidarity with black liberation throughout the years, throughout history. So we see right there a note, the 17th of November in 1979, Iran releases black embassy workers who were hostages during the, if anybody knows about that Iran hostage situation, they took a lot of Americans hostage. And so they had some women and some black men, and they released all of them and said, we're going to keep these Europeans with us, these Americans of European descent. They took them and kept them, and they said, black people, y'all have been oppressed in America. You have nothing to do with this. We want the actual Americans. This is how Iran has treated us throughout the years. Let's move on.
It sounds like Xerxes.
Yeah, exactly.
Having compassion upon the Hebrews, made covenant and contract with the Hebrews. But
right.
Let's continue.
Yeah, so we talked about that in the class. And last week's Shabbat class, if you go to the House of Wisdom channel, you'll see it. We talked about that, how the Persians, which are these Iranians, they're the ancestors of those Persians, they were kind to the true Israelites. They had unison with them. The next slide, it says, Iran cuts ties with apartheid South Africa. When Israel and the United States were still supporting South Africa, still doing business with South Africa, even though South Africa had strong apartheid. I mean, like segregation on steroids down in South Africa. And Iran, in Iranian history, they had a Shah, which is like a king, like a prince. And America backed them up till 1979, when there was a revolution, and the Islamic regime took over, and then they appointed an Ayatollah. So that American-backed Shah, that monarchy, had those ties with South Africa. That was fine to America. But now America severed ties when the Islamic regime took over. That shows you they don't care about you. They don't care about, they always talk about they're invading for sovereignty and humanitarian rights. All that is garbage. All that is BS.
True.
That doesn't matter. Iran is actually one who, I'm not going to talk about, some righteous, upstanding nation, but they're the ones who actually have been putting some of their money where their mouth is.
True. And they seem like the only adult in the room today when you're talking about this great conflict that is happening. These people have been more than patient. They were in de-escalation conversations with the U.S. Embassy and got bombed twice. It happened twice that they was talking, waving the white flag. And some people say that that's against the Geneva Convention. If you're in talks of peace and one invades you anyway, they say that's against the Geneva Conventions. And the reason they went for it is not because they're gullible, it's because they're upstanding. I look at it that way. I look at it like a spiritual person that I am. That's how biblical people, that's how spiritual people behave. I'm going to take you at your word. But we find out through history that Trojan horses were always committed. People talking about peace and giving you gifts, and out of it comes soldiers stabbing your whole family. That is not how righteous people behave. So we're past that 2-hour mark. We're going to get ready to shut this down. I'm going to go and nurture this cough. speaking of this cough, I'm going to take some of this Infinite Water. Make sure you support this sponsor right here so we can continue to come on and we can continue to bring you this insight, in-depth spiritual analysis on secular events. But also be prepared, because a lot of the monarchs in these Arab countries are losing their position, losing their power. You hear about these monarchs of Saudi Arabia or these monarchs in Jordan. These guys, yes, they're filthy rich, but some of their citizens are piss poor. All right, all the wealth is going to the top, and a lot of them are Shiites, and a lot of them are from Gaza, especially in Jordan, Saudi Arabia. And these people are saying, you guys are again locked up with people. You got Israel bombing Aramco, and there's that they're not showing you. There's marches in Bahrain. There's marches in Saudi Arabia. You have the clerics in Saudi Arabia looking at the kings, the monarchs, and saying, hey, you guys are completely wicked. And so this thing could go anywhere. And so make sure that you stay locked, and we're going to be here to bring that understanding, bring that information to you. Again, you have Shia militias firing on Iraqi bases. Yes, America is still in Iraq. You got all kind of stuff happening, and it's changing hour by hour, day by day, and we want to be here to bring you these sometimes emergency broadcasts so that not to just pontificate and talk and bloviate, but that we may get prepared, and we can prepare ourselves as much as possible, most importantly, spiritually, and then get our family together and then cohesively come together and fight the fight against lies and deception.
Yeah.
You got it, Saint.
Hakam, I think you had you were asking a question before we went over to show how Iran has always been supporting Black Americans, quote unquote.
Yeah, absolutely. I was asking the question for our fellow saints and just people out there who may be looking for some sort of advice or wise counsel on what they should do to prepare for the future, for what's to come.
I said it before. I just mentioned it. It is about first getting your mental together, getting your spirit together. It can become overwhelming watching video after video, seeing death here, seeing lies, deception, and somebody doing something on TikTok to try to persuade you here, somebody on Facebook. All of that can have your mind in a topsy-turvy. So I suggest, again, spiritually getting yourself together. And whatever that may be, we know here at the House of Wisdom what is that all about, but definitely getting your spirit solid. And then secondly, I suggest you having a community that you can gather with. Because when crap hit the fan, you solo by yourself, that's going to make you vulnerable and a victim. All right, so get with a conscientious group. We here, the brotherhood, the priesthood, the family, the sisterhoods at the House of Wisdom, we're all about clicking together, being together in righteousness and supporting one another. A communal mindset I think we all should have in these latter days. I believe that it is of the adversary, divisiveness that have pushed that it's just you and your family. And this fictitious notion of community.
Some people don't even do that.
Yeah.
Even with their family.
You're right. Not with their family. Absolutely. And like I said, that fictitious notion of community, they live in a neighborhood, they may know who that neighbor is, but they don't know who it is. They may say, yeah, that's that dude. He work on cars on the weekend. But if something popped off, you don't know about him.
And like old times.
It's not. Nope. It's not. This is why I know for a fact so many things you can do, but communal, getting with a group to not overthrow the country, that's not what it is about at all. It is about sustaining as much as possible in the society when things begin to change.
I would add to that, too. You talked about getting with a group, and I would add, get with a good, solid group.
There you go.
You got these people talking about love and agape and all that. And, it is what it is. We're going to be talking about that on some of these podcast episodes. But get with a strong group. A strong group is balanced. Not everything is emotional. You got these over-emotional groups of people where basically women are the leaders and men just submit, and they, everything is about emotions and crying. What are you going to do if I'm not saying they will, but what are you going to do if bombs fall where you are at? What is that person who's agape going to do when you got to make tough and hard decisions? What happens are you going to agape a deer when you got to go and hunt? You're just going to, hey, dear, can I get a hug? No, you're going to go and make sure you and your group survive. And so you're going to need a strong group, not just any group, a group filled with wise men who are strong enough to make hard decisions when the time comes. So make sure that whatever group you're choosing, whoever you're getting with, make sure that they're spiritual, they're upstanding people, and they're strong people.
The brother gonna be like, if you had agape, you'll give me half of your slice of last bread. You ain't got no agape, you gonna let me starve. You know, there are people also speaking this flea doctrine. They're still doing it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There are people like, we need to get out of this place. Go to Venezuela and see if you would be safe. There's no place more remote than Venezuela. None. But what happened? Trump sent his goons down there, kidnapped a sitting president, Maduro, killed many of his security. And where is he sitting? He's sitting in a jail in New York City like a common criminal.
President.
A president. You think you can run from it here? Reach out. No matter you want to go to Bolivia, go to Colombia, go anywhere, go to Egypt. I heard people talking about go to Egypt. That's the worst place you want to go. Worst place. But yet they're trying to escape. If you're trying to run, if you're trying to escape, you don't believe in a God. You're worse than an atheist. The Heavenly Father don't have strength, don't have power enough to save, redeem. Honestly, some of these evangelicals are better than you because they believe that the rapture is going to rapture us up. But you're saying we need to take a flight and run. And so when this happens over here in Egypt or Bolivia or wherever you're running to, we need to take a flight over here. That's a scaredy cat. All right, you got to be bold in these last days. You got to know that the people that you are with are, once again, solid people spiritually. And secondarily, these people they possess affection for each other. All right, yes, they have the skill and the know-how to maintain through difficulties. I believe that there's nobody living today that is going to live in some primal existence. Like, you know, you look at these movies of death and that dystopian society and they're eating old can. I don't think anybody can do that. I don't think nobody, I don't care. Look at these survival channels and these people are speaking hyperbole. There was a guy, remember the Atlanta Olympic bombing?
Yeah, in 96?
96, yeah. They thought, I think Eric Rudolph, they thought he did it, but it was just survivalist guy. And he was on the run in the mountains of North Carolina. And he took his bug-out bag, he took all of that stuff. And he was in the mountains. I'm just speculating. I think he was there for maybe 6 months. They found him eating out of a garbage can. Top-level survivals knew how to pick mushrooms and pick roots and eat bark and leaves. The man was digging out of a garbage can and weighed probably 82 pounds. All right, so what am I saying? You need a community. You need a community to work. Where you're strong, somebody else may be weak, and vice versa. Where this man know how to hunt, this person know how to cook, this person know how to clean. And not in a dystopian situation. I'm talking about today. If this man knew how to grow whatever, you know, he was agrarian and he can raise winter crops. This man did summer crops. This man raised cattle or goats or sheep or whatever it may be. These things aid and assist. Imagine getting gasoline right now in bulk. On your property, you just brought in 2 tankers. What one of those tanker trucks hold, Hakam?
They hold about 9,000 gallons.
All right, we've got 20,000 gallons of gasoline and diesel on the and you bought it when it was low. Everybody benefit, and you got it at a discount. You know, that's the kind of communal discount I'm talking about. Not this overthrowing the government, not the rapture, none of that stuff. But everybody wasn't made to be communal. All right, some people are too selfish to live communally. Yeah. You have some people hacking the gas pump, taking gas out in the street and selling it on the low. But yes, this is what this podcast is all about. Those are my 2 cents. I'm gonna let you end it, Saint.
No, I think that's essentially everything about it. Like I said, these are some of the things that we need to prepare for. And even like you mentioned today, you can be communal today because we need it. Look at the prices of everything just skyrocketing. You trying to live on your own. We already see that one income is not enough to survive in modern day America. And so it takes a body. One thing happened, man, we got a deer. We hunted a deer and we got it, butchered it ourselves. That's part of community. And that, think about how much money that saves. You have 100 pounds of a 100-pound deer. You may get maybe about 50, 60 pounds of meat. That's going to save a lot for the price of what, an arrow, a bullet, or whatever it may be, however you catching these deer. and to have a community to share that with is essential. That's one of the main drivers behind why we want to go and get that deer.
Absolutely. And Southern living at its best is that people raise cattle and you butcher that cattle and you raised him. You fed that cattle. He was never in a feedlot eating corn upon corn upon corn. He was grass grazed, all right? Or it was grass grazed. Or you fed your chicken, you fed your sheep, your goat, whatever it may be, quails. All right, there's a lot of things that we should do. And we talked about the difficulty of losing weight is because these people have given us frankenfood. But that's a whole nother class dealing with the health and wellness. So, Saints, until next time, may the Heavenly Father bless you all. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your mind clean. Keep it clear. And we will meet again.
And one thing before we close, I'd like to just mention, thank our sponsor. We thank our sponsor, Infinite Waters, for allowing us to do this podcast. If you appreciate the information we're bringing out and look forward to more podcasts, make sure you support. Make sure you go into Infinite Waters, go into their page. They're a real good company, have a real good product that they're putting out for your own benefit. This thing works wonders. Make sure you get that. Stay hydrated, and join us for the next one. All right. That's it.
Episode 1
Episode
is
1.
over.
You've been listening to the 9th hour. Appreciate you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Salute.
See you in the next one. Most High willing.
Most High willing.
Davidic Beats.